Okay, chat. Take two. We're back. Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, chat. IT, leave it in. Leave it in. Okay, we can't blame IT for cutting the cable this time. There's video evidence of us doing it, so we'll see if IT if they'll leave that stream up or not. If they'll let us live that down. Probably not, chat, because we've given them a hard time. Hey, yo, about the times that they've cut the feed on us. So this time it's our fault, chat. Can't do anything about it. But we're back. Take two. First quarter still live. And luckily we dropped the computer on like a timeout as well, to a TV timeout. So we're back, right? I mean, I guess luckily, unluckily, it doesn't matter, chat. Hey, yo, 7-23 here in the first quarter. But I guess, the game is not great. But we didn't miss any of the Doris Burke analysis, chat. So that's great. We're back right in time. But I guess we're going to have to get a desk going forward. It is what it is. So stay tuned, chat. You're going to see a couple of set improvements to the REMINGTOM pod. Or just more discipline, chat. Just nice. Just stay on the couch. No moving. But, yeah, this is crazy, chat. I guess, wait a second. Is the Sling TV ahead of the ESPN? Oh, the ESPN must be for... I guess, is the computer still lagging, chat, from the fact that we just dropped it a couple minutes ago. There it is. Oh, we jinxed it. We updated. I was like, for once, the Sling TV is in front. It's impossible. I don't even know if that can work or whatever. But, and I don't know, chat. I feel like back in the day, I'm trying to remember, because sometimes, of course, I'd be following football score, back before I would have access to Red Zone, and just, you at least would get to watch some of all the games. And you're just watching the couple of games that are available on network. I'd be following some of the other game scores on just, whatever box score app, Bleacher Report, ESPN, whatever. Or, I don't know, old school, chat, just sitting there with the computer browser pulled up or whatever. But, yeah, I felt like, I'm trying to remember if back then some of the scores were in front or not. I guess it doesn't really matter, because it felt like the TV was ahead sometime. But as I'm saying that, I'm like, no, because I feel like maybe I was getting it spoiled as well, too, back in the day. And it's like, oh, no, got to turn the screen off, I guess. But, okay, so, yeah, they had the Anthony Edwards scoring for this series. So game 2, he did have the 32 points. Game 3, like we're saying, he had the 30. But that game, I mean, not to disrespect their effort, but it was just such a crazy one-sided performance. OKC was not really there. I mean, again, just such a lopsided game that you can't really take much away from it. So this sort of, and they foot up on the gas right from the start, chat. So it wasn't really a close game anyways. Not to discredit Edwards for a 30-point game and a historic margin of victory, but he didn't necessarily have to have that quote-unquote like rise to the occasion-y type moment, rise to the occasion type. Again, it's not to say that this series would, not to say that they would close this series out after winning this game. That game in the last game was maybe the opportunity more so to do that. But, I think there could be a perception of Edwards that would be, just like it would put a nice smile on our face, chat, for Edwards going into the offseason to have a good scoring performance. A missed wide open 3 on the wing there, chat. Again, we could talk about the styles of shots that we want to take, but an open three-pointer is any day, especially in 2025, of course. You're going to be happy with that. But, yeah, for Edwards, like we were saying, not to say that we're going to start rewriting his legacy and his standing in the league after this type of game. And I guess what were we even rambling about before we dropped the computer, chat? Something about him and Halliburton. But I guess it just was, at what point do we start kind of flipping these legacies around? Like, Halliburton is both making the playoff runs the same way that Edwards had. They both have made 2 conference finals appearances. Halliburton is on the verge of making his first finals appearances compared to Edwards is, 0 at this point. Hey, yo, are we Jalen Rose to Paul Pierce at this point where Dwayne Wade made 15 All-NBAs to your none and made 7 finals to your 3 and was like, okay, Jalen Rose just ripping apart Paul Pierce's legacy here. It's like Paul Pierce still pretty good. But, 23-9. Yeah, chat. 1 for 9 from 3. I guess OKC's only 2 for 8 for 3. Not necessarily too much better themselves, but crowd on their feet as Shea has a chance to close out the first quarter. Cousins, chat. Hey, yo! Nickeil Alexander-Walker playing on defense. What were they up to, chat? They were getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker to Casey Wallace in the corner. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the only guy playing defense, rotating on everybody. Chat. Hey, yo, whoa! But It doesn't matter. Case of Wallace gets the corner 3 to go. 26-9. Chat. This game right away. OKC is dominating. I mean, are we even going to get a good game at this point? You know, we could talk about, oh, is it over for Minnesota in this game? They're probably not going to win the game. Is it even going to be competitive, chat? What type of game are we even going to get? This is crazy. But, yeah, like, you know, if, like, pie chart, player rankings, what makes up the rankings, like, in the pie chart, chat, like, how much of it is the perception of the guys entering the league? And just their overall expectations and potential and the storylines that they kind of get thrown at them as well too earlier on. Like, and you know, we've talked about this before too with Shea and Halliburton versus Ant. Like, those are guys that have kind of had the incremental rise up into the stardom levels, whereas Anthony Edwards, and Edwards as well too, wasn't necessarily drafted as the #1 pick, as like a, you know, surefire Wembenyama, oh, this guy's like the next face of the league as a #1 pick. I mean, you know, Cooper Flag, chat. Not necessarily had that kind of hype when he was the prospect, but of course, very quickly, you know, a couple of seasons in, it's like, and with the playoff stuff that he was accomplishing, and with just the overall, you know, the more access that we got to Edwards, and the more that his personality was put on display as well too, like, the more it just became clear that he was such a, you know, such a great basketball talent and such a great basketball personality. And he also will always just have that thing to go back to. Like, even if he didn't have that hype, it's still okay. He was the #1 pick in the draft, and him and Halliburton both same draft as well too. So interesting comparison. If we're just comparing their legacies, I guess they literally have, you know, same amount of time spent in the league. So I guess we could maybe do like an age thing, potentially. I don't know if Halliburton, because Edwards was freshman, of course. I don't know if he reclassified as well too, but he was only 1 year in college. Maybe Halliburton was 2 years in college. So maybe in, you know, maybe at high school, I don't know, whatever. But maybe a year or two on Edwards in that respect. But yeah, like, if we just start from ground zero when these guys enter into the NBA, then, I mean, maybe the resumes become just a, you know, again, with the, like we were saying before we dropped the computer, chat, the pre-entering, the pre-hype, some of that stuff, of course, can affect the season awards and just what your standing is, where, like we're saying, Halliburton has sort of worked his way up into the third. And, you know, this playoff run is also, like, we can't just say has this level of hype as a player. Yeah, again, this playoff run is adding to that. Whereas Edwards, you know, had a little bit more hype after that. You know, maybe we just didn't respect Halliburton after the playoff run last year. But he is 2-time All-NBA, so is that before this season, chat? No. They're giving him the All-NBA for this season already, even though it's not listed here on his page yet. But yeah, 2nd-team All-NBA last year and 2nd-team All-NBA this year, 7th in MVP voting. Puts him in that 2nd-team All-NBA range perfectly as well too, chat. And Tyrese Halliburton he is also 2-time All-NBA. So yeah, 3rd-team All-NBA last year, and I think, again, 3rd-team All-NBA this year as well too. So just like a little bit of a, you know, again, the league rankings, whatever. But, and I guess, you know, there is a debate about, like, oh, is Halliburton a top 15 player? It's like, well, if I guess, you know, the voters have kind of said, even going into the playoffs this year, that the last couple of years he has been a top 15 player. And last year, of course, was 20-11, chat. So the regular season was even, the regular season for those guys, their numbers were even more nuts as well too. But, and I guess, you know, Edwards does have the Rookie of the Year trophy. Or, no, wait, who won Rookie of the Year that year, chat? LaMelo? Maybe LaMelo did. Yeah, LaMelo did win Rookie of the Year, chat. Hey, yo. So, hey, you know, I don't know if people are going to be, did that age well? I think it aged great, chat. It's perfect. I mean, it gets Rookie of the Year. It's 1 year award. I get, you know, is there a little bit of a, do we want to project out with some of this stuff? But LaMelo, what was his numbers? Because I guess Edwards, how many games did he play? 72 games. LaMelo played 15 games, chat. He was 15-6. Edwards was 19-2. 41%, 32%. Just a little bit, you know, LaMelo a little bit better of a three-point shooter at that point. It doesn't age great on the numbers, just the raw stats from the season. Hey, yo, chat. The box score chat stats from the season. Saddiq Bey got a couple of votes in there as well, too. Tyrese Halliburton with 13-5. I guess Saddiq Bey at 12, so that was probably, you know, LaMelo, Edwards, and Halliburton probably are top 3 scorers. Logging enough games that year to get into the top of the scoring mix. But, Yeah, Charlie, we're saying if you just start from ground zero from these guys, I mean, it's already obviously very, very close. Like, they're probably hovering in the same tier already anyways with the conversation. But again, Edwards is in the conversation of, like, is he going to be the next face of the league? And as much as we want to, as much as we're going to give Halliburton his credit for this run, and as much as it's going to, again, elevate his status and solidify his spot in the league, he's not going to be in the face of the league conversation. Like, there might be a first take topic about it, but again, I wish there was a better way to phrase this, chat, but you can't force this stuff. Like, you can't necessarily just anoint the guy as the face of the league, even if it's not necessarily totally correct. Like, there is just a gravitation toward Edwards as a personality that there just isn't in the rest of the league. And I guess, what were the jersey sales this year, chat? Because maybe like Shea was up there in the jersey sales. Well, not that is everything, but I do also remember seeing, like, and I guess, like, if Tatum's up there, a Celtics guy being up in the top 10 jerseys is not crazy. But it's like, okay, yeah, like, I think Tatum's stardom right now is a little bit underrated as well, too. Again, and, like, is it face of the league level? I think it's, like, really, really close, chat. But Luka this year, the top selling jersey overall, of course, on the Lakers. I mean, that is basically lining up perfectly, chat. Steph, LeBron, Tatum was 4th, yeah. Brunson 5th. So, I mean, again, you just go kind of market. You don't want to say that Brunson's more beloved than Tatum in Boston, because, again, Tatum just won the title. But I think there was that as well, too. I mean, the formidable repeat champion in the same way. But, like, just that conversation we've been having over the face of the year, over the last couple of years. Did the Celtics have those guys that emerge as the face of the league type players? Like we're saying, unfortunately, Tatum hasn't quite, like Doncic, again, as guys that's even a little bit younger, and he's, of course, on the same team as LeBron. So, I mean, do we give LeBron credit? Like, the LeBron spotlight helps elevate him over LeBron? I don't know, chat. But, Curry as well, too, like, in that, Luka ascending over Curry as well. Like, he's actually broken over the barrier of those last two guys. Whereas, like, we're literally looking at the list right here. Tatum is just kind of, and, I think Brunson as well, too. Wembenyama, like, that makes sense as well. Like, even just current standing in the league. Like, he's obviously this amazing figure and this great, still impactful basketball talent. But there is that last level of once he starts getting into the playoffs and being more impactful that way, you could see that really maybe even jump up to number 1 at some point. But Edwards at 7, Ja still at 8, and then Shea, chat. So Shea over Jokic and Giannis, LaMelo at 12. So, I mean, yeah, Rookie of the Year, chat. Perfect. I mean, still a star in the league. Top 15 player in the league. Don't forget about LaMelo Ball, chat. He's right in the mix. But could LaMelo Ball be doing what Tyrese Halliburton is doing on the Pacers, chat? Do we need to call Sam? And see, he said yes. Actually, he just texted and said yes. Said it was like, anytime he hears LaMelo Ball, chat, it's just like a bat signal. And he's like, he's just got to show up anywhere and just defend his guys. But Durant, Booker, and Jaylen Brown as well, too. So, I mean, that does us, show that. I mean, because, again, both those guys are, have been in the league for the same amount of time a little bit. They've kind of had the same rise. Tatum, of course, like, elevated a little bit more. But for them to be at the peak of their basketball powers, like, it also makes sense as well, too, that they're sort of apex popularity right now. And I don't know if Jaylen Brown, I guess this is from this past season, so I guess, how does his performance, is it a little 2K-ish, like his performance this season affects his jersey sales next season? But if he has a good season next season, well, who knows how it actually plays out. I guess it's just the popular, I guess Ja is still number 8, so it doesn't fully matter. But, I mean, yeah, you still see Shea even battling with John. I guess Tyrese Halliburton not even in the top 15 for jersey sales yet, chat. But the Halliburton jersey will be popular. I think Booker, Phoenix, he's been in the league for a while. He made a finals. I mean, in terms of the celebrity aspect of it as well, too, I mean, I don't even think I need to talk you guys into this. Like, I think you guys know it. Like, the dating profile can definitely elevate your celebrity as well, too. I mean, it's not even just an athlete thing. That's just, famous, being connected with a more famous person is going to get you in front of more eyeballs. And, obviously the Jenner Kardashian group is the family, the corporation. That's a respectful term for it. They've also made a successful business, Chad. But, Yeah, like Kendall chat, like he dated Kendall there for a second, so that's going to help boost the popularity, in kind of a Kelsey type way. But also the Phoenix Suns jerseys are cool. And the Phoenix Suns jerseys are great to wear. Just again, like I think the LaMelo Ball jersey is a high-ranking jersey for that as well too. I'm not going to say that is carrying him into the top 15, but I think at any given time, 20 plus, and maybe even like a 22 point a game score in the Charlotte Hornets jersey is a lock to be in the top 15. And I guess this is current players as well too. I wish they had like a ranking with the historic players in it, because I think are MJ jerseys still top 10 selling jerseys, Chad? Or is this actually just, because I guess it is NBAshop.com, isn't it? So I don't know. We're gonna IT dig into the research and see where they're getting, how they're cooking up these numbers. I guess what is this website, chat? Interbasket.net? It's just some AI probably. Is this even real? Did AI just cook up this list and give us something? What is this? Add to the Lakers' unmatched brand power as well as the ever-growing international audience for the NBA last season. Last season Luka's jersey was the 6th best-selling in the league. So he was in that Wembenyama range. So Wembenyama. Steph Curry leading top-selling jerseys so far. So that was January 24th, chat. This article was posted here from NBA.com. It says Curry was in the lead. So that, again, he finished the season second according to Interbasket.net. But that's also would have been before the Luka Doncic trade. So this would have made sense. Where's Doncic at? So this Doncic on the Mavs was 8, chat. So that does, again, show you the branding power of LA. But, so yeah, it's like, if Tatum got traded to the Lakers, could Tatum have not been the face of the league in that way? I guess maybe the league, again, if they're rigging it, they're trading Luka. So that they're hand-picking him as the star that they want to put there. But Tatum is also, again, other coasts, like you have Tatum in the East, Luka in the West. They already had a little bit of a rivalry because the Mavs were in the finals last year, so maybe you just want to keep that going as well. Maybe you don't want to start, just destroying your other high-power brands as well, too. Because I guess the Celtics, again, in general, with Jaylen Brown, I guess Jaylen Brown got into the top 15 over Donovan Mitchell. So the Donovan Mitchell was a hot-selling jersey while they were winning, chat. But apparently the quick to drop off the list once they kind of took a bit of a step back there in the second half of the season. Even not that big of a step back. Like, they were still, I think, top of the Eastern Conference amongst wins. I think if you go back and look for a stretch there, it's like, okay, the Pacers and the Cavs actually did have the same record for, like, 45, 50 games. But, again, like, still, okay, Cavs still, I'd say, like, they were still a really good regular season team. But Jaylen Brown being the one that gets the spot over Mitchell, I'm not too mad about that because, again, I guess they kind of have been in the league for the same amount of time. But Jaylen Brown's been on the finals as well, too. So if we had a top 20, I think Donovan Mitchell would be in the top 20. Yeah, that's still just top 14. The Spurs fans, chat, top 9. And we're just cut out the Bucks, chat. We're top 9 in NBA just merchandising in general. So, hey, yo, chat. We're degenerates. We love Spurs hats. Hey, I guess I only have one hat in the studio right now. But it is what it is. And I guess, we only have one Spurs hat in our possession, but we have many a Spurs hat out in the world. We are, what's that Jack Harlow song, chat, where it's like that Jack Harlow bar? It's like he's the wardrobe spread across the whole map. It's our Spurs hats, chat, spread across the whole map. Just all over every coast, we've got Spurs hats. I don't know, chat. But, yeah, R.I.P. to the lost Spurs hats in our collection. We'll definitely have to update those at some point. Lids! We'll slide into the DMs. We'll reach out and see what's up. And maybe we can strike a deal, chat. See if we can bulk up the studio stock of Spurs lids, I guess. But and plus, again, I do want to get some more Spurs stuff, but I've also promised to be a good fan, and I guess we'll see how long we keep this promise for, chat. But again, I want to make sure to stock up on the Spurs stuff before we start diving into some of these other players, because like we said, the LaMelo Ball jersey, the Hornets jersey is cool. I'm not saying that as like a public take. It's also a personal take. I want a LaMelo Ball Charlotte Hornets jersey. We'll move it up to 11, chat, with the sales. If we're just talking personal, like what would I want to wear as a jersey, I would, and again, and maybe the Shea is becoming a player that, Well, maybe Shea is ascending too good, where it's like after this playoff run, it'll be a little too bandwagon almost. But like and the Thunder, it's not his fault that the Thunder jersey isn't like a great jersey to wear. I think the move would be if you could find, because I actually sneaky like these jerseys. Let me see. I don't know what year these would be, chat. What's that site? Is there like a, oh, I forget, like NBAjerseys.com or something. I don't know, chat. But I think it's maybe the only type of this jerseys that they've had. Let's see here, chat. It's the dark blue. Oh, alternatives. I mean, how many Thunder are there? Thunderhawk blue? What is this? Are the Thunder dark blue jerseys apparently not popular enough to get? Oh, it's probably just this Microsoft search engine, chat. Doesn't even know what we're talking about. Okay, see, yeah, these jerseys right here, chat. So I guess if you're listening to this on Apple, are bad, or any other podcast platform besides Spotify. But 44 to 18. Holy cow, chat. Holy cow. We can't even look. Hey, yo. It's we'll just let Minnesota die in peace, chat. Hey, yo. This is not good. And the whole team traded. Anthony Edwards, get used to some new teammates in 2025. Hey, yo, get used to some new friends. It is what it is. I don't know. The Instagram Snapchats, like, any teammate numbers you want to get before you stay connected before the offseason hits, because this is the last time you're going to be sharing the locker room with this group of guys, chat. You're losing the Western Conference Finals 20 to 44. There's gonna be some changes. It's just what's going to happen. Julius Randle probably not going to be in the locker room in 25-26. It's just what it is, chat. But yeah, I think if you're going to wear a Thunder jersey, this would be to me, this is the one to wear. I don't know. I guess if you're wearing it on the street, I think it's cool also on the court as well too. But I guess the Christmas, were these Christmas ones, chat? This style of Christmas one's not bad. I mean, it's a little simple. And again, the Christmas jerseys are I guess every team that played on Christmas would have that jersey, so it's not unique to the Thunder necessarily. But I'm trying to think of the alternates as well too. Is there a way to just look up what the history of some of these team jerseys are? Because I bet there's a site. I mean, was it sportslogo.com? Oh, Thunder jersey history gave us the Sonics, chat. That's dirty. Hey yo, shout out to the Sonics. I mean, if we're just ranking like top 5 jerseys you want to wear, chat. I mean, the Sonic. And again, is it a little bit of as well too the history of the fact that the Sonics are sort of a defunct franchise? But that's a classic jersey. I mean, this is really that could be an extravagant ranking, chat. Could be the top, best jerseys of all time. Again, the ones that maybe you want to wear as well too. Are these real? What are these? Sydney, Perth? Is this NBL, chat? Church City? Adaria? I didn't even stutter there. I think that's actually how you read it. But that's Mel. I guess this is Melbourne, chat. That was a stutter. But ML Burn, kind of copying the Brooklyn style with the abbreviated font. Perth going a little Utah Jazz-y and kind of Denver Nuggets mix here, where you got sort of the same skyline gradient that Denver has, but obviously the orange gradients that Utah had there for a while. And that orange gradient is interesting. I feel like I saw a guy wearing that orange gradient Mitchell once, and I was like, whoa. I feel like was this a dream, chat, or did this guy actually have this? I feel like it was the orange gradient Donovan Mitchell jersey, and he had like yellow Air Max 95s. I definitely think they were the 95s because they were the little bit of the chunkier sole Air Maxes back when I think it was like 17, 18, back when Air Maxes were hot, chat. I guess, again, speaking of jerseys that we think are still cool, Air Maxes, I think they're still in our rotation. But or I guess our hypothetical rotation, if we were buying shoes, chat, we'd get some Air Maxes. Definitely. Maybe some of the 97s and 95s as well, too. I don't know. We haven't been on StockX as of late. We can't give in to the temptation, chat. It's just better not to even have the apps. Be like, okay, you just gotta take a break for a second. But these Sydney jerseys are, I guess the purple and gold is, I guess Sacramento can have that a little bit for alternates, but they also have that powder blue in there, which is cool. But the purple and gold itself is kind of unique. These are cool, chat. I do like these. These are, I don't know if these are A-plus jerseys, but these are not bad as well. Again, if we're just going for the OKC history of it, I guess, chat, when it's 51-24 with 5 minutes left in the second quarter, this is what happens. You start going through the one of the best jerseys that you would wear in the history of OKC. Oh, man. Oh, man. This is not great, chat. This is a Western Conference Finals. It is what it is, but we do want to track that. Basketball jersey archive. I knew there was something out here, chat. Here we go. I mean, we could get lost in this site for hours. Oh, chat, a timeline of the league, branding. Medalist Sand something. Rawlings got a 10-year run in here. Champion. When did Champion used to run the game, chat? 89 to 2001, they sponsored the league. Maybe the NBA's leveled up since then. To Reebok, to Adidas, to Nike. Yeah, it has been a leveling up, I guess. Oh, hey, yo, chat, we're going to get the Sonics jersey history. And here's what we'll do. Oh, I guess, pretty classy would go with anything. The all-white alternates, which is the same thing as the dark blue. The styling, anyways, with the horizontal font and stuff. But yeah, the rest of the OKC styling and branding, I mean, again, it's fine. The New York Knicks obviously have the orange and blue colorway as well too. So the colorway itself, I guess, can be iconic, but just a lot of the pinstriping and I don't know, it's just kind of basic basketball. Not doing too much. Like, you see that? I don't know that, chat. There is something here with, okay, gray, and we're using the primary colors as highlights, but not great execution. Maybe it's just the random yellow. That's what it is as well, too. There's just sometimes the random yellow. Sometimes a team will have a third color. I don't know, the different blues with orange as well. I don't know, again, major breakdown for Thunder's jersey when they're up 30 almost. But, yeah, that's not necessarily great. I guess that's another Christmas one. The Christmas ones, chat. Is that another Rem and Sam wish list? The Rem and Sam Christmas jersey collab? Hey, yo, chat. That would be wild. I don't know if we would... I don't know what that would look like. But everybody just wearing Rem and Sam jerseys, I guess. But just... we could get hypothetical with all those different designs. The red Sonics jersey would be a good poll. If you saw somebody in a red Gary Payton or a Sean Kemp as well too. I think Sean Kemp sneaky is the more, maybe you'd rather have the Sean Kemp than the Gary Payton, but I could be wrong. Gary Payton obviously higher up on the legacy rankings. I guess 2001, when was Rashard Lewis on the Sonic? Could we get a red Sonics Rashard Lewis? Or who else? Dennis Johnson. I was actually Googling Dennis Johnson Sonics jerseys the other day. It's one of those, like, I feel like you have to get either a ripoff or, like, we'll have to get, like, an autographed one out of that's, like, a framed and then break the frame and just wear the autographed framed one, which might be, like, the craziest move ever, chat. Has anybody ever done that? Bought a framed autographed jersey and then, like, well, this is the only way I can get this, get this MJ jersey that I want to wear. I just want to wear this. I guess what scenario are you going to wear the formerly framed autographed, probably game-worn MJ jersey? That's probably like that's definitely a rich guy move. That's not a save up all your money and I have this one MJ possession now. But that would be definitely crazy, chat. I guess any old school jerseys as well too. Maybe we start collecting some 60s and 70s jerseys in there. But yeah, I guess that's what we were saying about the Thunder. So I guess now to move to the Timberwolves, chat. What Timberwolves jerseys would we wear? I don't know. I don't remember how we got into this rant. Oh, because we were talking about the faces of the league, chat. Hey, yo. So yeah, I guess if you're not going to get that shade dark blue jersey, then yeah, I would much rather have the LaMelo Ball. But I guess what we were also saying, Phoenix is cool. So yeah, Devin Booker, respected player, cool player. Popular player. Like I said, I think a sneaky more popular player. I think him and Tatum and a lot of those, like, and Jokic and Giannis as well too. Like I think that, and again, these guys, I mean, literally in the stats haven't ascended past Steph and LeBron in the jersey sales. But I think almost, Steph and LeBron are such superstars, and their stardom having the longevity the way it is just so unique that I honestly don't even think we almost can't even criticize these guys for not becoming the faces of the league, just because, again, this is LeBron and Steph. Like, when else are you going to see this happening? Like, it's just a rare... Like, there's just really no way that this happens in the NFL. Like, Brady maybe, of course, was in this mix for a while. Like, I mean, there was even a conversation where it's like retired Brady might still be like a top 15 quarterback in the league. So, again, it's still some of that legacy stuff. And it was still even like a franchise element of like, okay, we'd have Brady over, whatever the other option of it is. But, that whole sort of phase of the guys, I think, is really great. I guess Jokic and Giannis being behind Ja on the jersey sales is a little tough, chat. But Edwards, Ja, I mean, you got Wembanyama just skyrocketing, of course. And there's probably an international thing with Wembanyama as well, too, that helps. I don't know if this is, like, we have, like a domestic and an international ranking that we can pull up here, chat, and dive into it. But Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, and Shea and Donovan Mitchell each make their debut. And I guess, yeah, this wasn't the season-ending one either. That was the mid-season one, even though it was still pretty similar. Wait a second. What just happened to the search results, chat? Now it thinks it was listening to our conversation. Hey, yo, chat. Now it thinks that we're shopping. No, we're researching. We're doing both. It's actually highly important research on jersey sales and who is going to be the face of the league. Best-selling jerseys by season, chat. A couple of Kobe's way back in the early 2000s. Luka, Steph, of course. LeBron, Hoops Hype, chat. Doing all the work. Jordan Poole, top 15 was his 22-23 only a couple years ago. Dame Lillard back on the Blazers. I mean, again, LaMelo hovering around that top 15 range. Ja, solid top 8 position. Pause. Kyrie in the top 10 as well, too, chat. How many years do we get the graphic? I guess Jokic. Jokic needs to get up into the top 10. Durant still at 4 in Brooklyn. Kyrie at 10 in Brooklyn. I think Kyrie as well, too, is always a pretty popular player. I mean, great highlights, cool player, chat. I mean, the Blazers jersey, another great jersey. I mean, Steph benefits from this as well, too, where he has a great jersey. I mean, maybe that is kind of held LeBron back a little bit. I mean, it's never held him back because he's always been number one in the jerseys. I guess we're looking at 2021. I guess, was this the year Steph was hurt? The bandwagon Steph fans? And these jerseys, of course, were cool, chat. Maybe we're going historic Suns jerseys. Get some of these. Get a Booker alternate in the Valleys. That'd be sick. I guess that's definitely on the wish list at some point. But so are the Bay jerseys are cool, chat. Or the Town ones that they have that are the dark blue. I guess the Town, of course, is a Boston movie. But the Town is also a sick jersey colorway for the Golden State Warriors as well, too. But the Blazers is another great, of course, wear it just out sort of franchise jersey. Westbrook, I could definitely see us getting a Westbrook. I mean, that's why, again, we want Giannis to get to the Spurs so bad, because it's just, I mean, immediately we have to get the Antetokounmpo Spurs jersey. But we get a Giannis jersey because Giannis might be our favorite non-Spur, but we also get the next great player that's going to be on San Antonio as well, too. Ben Simmons, number 9, chat, back in 2018-19. A top 10 selling jersey. And Jimmy Butler on the Sixers, number 10. I mean, chat, just from the marketing sensibility of it. I was literally talking at another work conversation, chat. Conversation corner. I was talking with somebody at work about Jimmy Butler. We were like, oh, what, I don't even remember how we got there, but who knows? You never know, chat. But it was like, why were they giving up Tobias Harris for Jimmy Butler? What happened? Oh, maybe I think it was with the Timberwolves. We were talking about the Timberwolves and then Jimmy Butler on the Timberwolves, and it's like, yeah, wait a second. Of course you like Jimmy Butler. Wait a second. Why did the Sixers give up Tobias Harris? Or give up Jimmy Butler for Tobias Harris? What happened there? And, I mean, just to go back and look at the season, you have 3 guys in the top 10 of jersey sales? You have the most marketable team in the league? And you just gave that away as well, too. And also Jimmy Butler was the more competitive player as well, too. All shout out Tobias Harris, chat. It's a pro Tobias Harris pod. Hey, yo. Is that what you get on the pro Tobias Harris pods? What are the anti-Tobias Harris pods like? Not good. Not good, that's for sure. Kawhi, of course. Lonzo Ball on the Lakers, shout out. I guess, should we go back to the end of the list and see? Oh, too far, chat. Oh, so it just goes to the end of the century. Kobe in 2000, 2001. Kobe for a while there, Chad. They don't have the rankings for the first couple of years, but 2000, 2003, Kobe, Iverson, T-Mac, Jordan on the Wizards, Paul Pierce, Jason Kidd, Shaq. Shaq in 2002, 2003 was 6th in jersey sales on the Lakers. I mean, these are all, T-Mac, chat, legendary. Paul Pierce, Celtics again. MJ, of course. Kidd on the Nets. I mean, New York, I guess. But Latrell Sprewell, number 8, Dirk, and Michael Finley, 9 and 10. Lamar Odom, 11. Shout out Lamar Odom on the Clippers. Oh, Kevin Garnett, Timberwolves. I see Jalen Rose's name. I'm excited to get Jalen Rose. Allen Houston on the Knicks, and then, yeah, Jalen Rose on the Bulls, chat. Shout out Timmy. Tim Duncan on the Spurs, chat. At number 15. Kenyon Martin, 16. Yao Ming at 17. Gary Payton, the Sonics, and the Bucks. Wait, so did he get traded? Both the Gary Payton Bucks jersey? See, chat, that's a whole nother collection of jerseys that you could have as well, too. The random one-off jerseys. Gary Payton on the Bucks. Patrick Ewing on the Magic. Scottie Pippen on the Raptors. The all-time rim. Just being Tracy McGrady on the Spurs. I think we've talked about getting... I mean, we should just get... I actually think I was Googling that jersey as well, too. I think we might actually have to get that as a custom, unfortunately. What was T-Mac's number on the Spurs? Is that even going to be listed on his basketball reference page? I don't remember if he got minutes or not in San Antonio. I think he did. I think he might have even played some playoff minutes. I could be wrong. Oh, nope. No San Antonio listed on the box score, chat. Let's see. Playoffs? Maybe he just signed up for just the playoffs. Maybe that was a 12-13, yeah. So that's why it was playoff runs. 6 playoff games played. So I guess if you don't play in the regular season for the team, you don't get a jersey? Is that what it is? Where are the totals here at, chat? Appeared in 31 playoff minutes. 0 for 7. T-Mac at 33. Just washed, chat. It is, the poor man was banged up, injured. It is what it is. Happens to some guys, chat. But 0 for 7 is not good. 0 for 3 is. And no free throws, of course. And they're probably not able to get to the basket whatsoever at all. But 7 assists, though. Moving the ball, still a veteran, chat. Couple of steals, still filling up the rest of the box score. Just didn't hit any shots. So 30. What's his per 36 on the rest of the box score? Be like the craziest 0-point box score of all time. Again, I guess this would be playoffs, not just regular season. 0 points on 8 field goal attempts a game, I guess. Chad, he's going 0 for 8 every game. He's going 0 for 8, but he's 8 assists, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3.5 blocks. If we had gotten 33-year-old Tracy McGrady for a full game, that would have been fun. That would have been nuts. Maybe this is what Draymond Green is headed for, chat. Just missing everything, but he's gonna just still be like just the double single. I don't know what we call it. I don't know what Charles Barkley will refer to that as, but 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 0 points, 0 for 10. It's like, oh, shout out to Draymond, another great the Warriors. I mean, again, I'm not a Warriors fan, so I can't wait for that phase, chat. I'm glad we've already gotten the phase of the Warriors being dominant and the best team in the league, and now the underdog team and the beloved team and Steph, remember when, and all that stuff. And now we'll have the Draymond is, the when will this not the when will this end, but you get it, chat. The Draymond being the veteran guy. I guess we're just signing Draymond up for this role as well too, because they're gonna, of course, have missed out on this draft, the Cooper Flag draft. Getting up there in the top mix for the lottery this year. So I guess, going forward, it's still going to be pretty stacked for players, I'm guessing. Dive into the 2027 mocks here. But they might even need some of those Draymond performances to get the franchise reset. It'll be Draymond's last gift to the team. The number 1 overall pick in the draft. I mean, I'm not even being critical. That's actually how the NBA works. It's why they keep him around. Sam, we talk about with Sam, like what they need to do to continue to build this team to win the title. And, it's like, do they keep the legends to get the right parts to keep competitive around Steph? And yeah, that could have happened, I guess. But no, the move was keep the legends, and then when they're bad, you'll actually be tanking, and then you'll be in a spot to take James Wiseman again, chat. It's perfect. And maybe with Dunleavy, you won't take James Wiseman. I mean, Edwards is 3 for 10 in this half, so I guess we were pretty checked out this second quarter, chat. We'll have to go back and check the tapes on this 30-point, because they are now actually officially 31 on the scorecard. Oh, now it's halftime 33 on the ESPN scorecard. Only 15 seconds left here, counted 13-12. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander running out the clock. I mean, Oklahoma City fans are not even excited anymore, chat. It's halftime, and they're already used to being in the finals. Hey, yo. Shai drives to the basket. There's the 65. I guess we should have. It was just like, okay, of course they're going to score. Didn't even register that there was a point differential. There is Randall maybe chucking up a half-court shot at the end. 32. to 65, chat. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. A moment of silence for Chris Finch. Oh, chat. The Timberwolves. I mean, is A-Rod going to give the team back? What's going to happen? I don't know, chat. We just have time to process. I guess we've only been on for 1 quarter. We dropped the computer at the end of the first, but we'll still take a quick halftime IT timeout, chat. Try not to drop the computer during that, and then we'll be back to try to make sense of the Timberwolves and what do they, I guess, what do they do, chat? I don't know. What do they do next? After the break. Okay, chat, let's roll up our sleeves and get into it here. Let's dig into the stats and see what we got. Let's just see what we got for the playoffs in general here real quick and see. I mean, Shea himself is having a brilliant half. He also has 20 points in the first half, which, of course, Tyrese Halliburton did in the first half of the last game as well, too. But Halliburton's kind of got that assist number, so I was almost thinking, is Halliburton a little, you know, Jokic-y to Shea's Giannis potentially, where he could have that extra sort of stats boost in a way that's, and I guess Shea has the scoring number, but I guess so did Giannis over Jokic. It was just more that Jokic, I mean, but Jokic obviously had more efficiency, so the scoring number was more different than, you know, Shea's just a more efficient player, and that a lot of times leads to the fact that he has more points. Again, Jokic is more efficient, leads to the fact that he kind of had almost as many points as Giannis. But, you know, still kind of the same thing regardless. But for the playoffs in general, yeah, Giannis in his series dominated a bunch of stats. Let's see, where is, yeah, I guess we'll throw Edwards in the conversation. Cade, we just got to highlight Cade, chat, just to keep him around. Halliburton, of course, and then Shea as well, too. So Shea with 29, I mean, obviously leads the pack. The scoring number pretty similar to where it's at in the playoffs. 46% from the field for Shea. On the playoffs total, Edwards 45% for the field, 26 a game. 26 in 5.7. Shea's 29 and 7. So Halliburton, yeah, in the total playoffs, 19 and 10. 46% from the field, 33% from 3, 14 games played. Then Cade, chat, just to compare, 25, 8 and 8. And then, yeah, 42% of the field, only 17% from 3. So, I mean, you know, that alone, chat, will just unlock him into a whole different level in the playoffs as well, too. But amongst those guys, I guess for the entire playoffs, the couple of series before this, the scoring number has been there, obviously, for Shea and Edwards compared to Halliburton's scoring number in total. But let me see for the, I guess, could we sort here just like conference finals series? I guess, you know, again, how much are we going to eliminate in the history to make our judgments in these type of historical debates? But playoff series comparison against the Knicks right now in 38 minutes a game. So 24 and 11, 24, 11 and 7, and 2.5 steals a game, 45% of the field. Still, you know, 33% from 3. It's not crazy. He was 45% from 3. So I think everybody was 45+% from 3 against the Cavs in the Eastern Conference semis this year. But, yeah, this series against the Knicks at 24, 7 and 11. And I guess his stats would be up to date. Shea, of course, would not be including on this basketball reference page anyways. This would not be including his performance tonight. You know, again, I guess this game's not even over yet in the first half for today. So in the playoff series against Minnesota, 30 points, 8 assists, a steal, almost 5 rebounds a game, 42% from the field in this series. But he was 53% of the field against Denver, basically. And his scoring number has gone up in each series regardless, chat. So you can almost see I guess that Memphis series, maybe a little bit different, like a little bit more in cruise control in that series in a different way. But he has, of course, leveled up in each of these series. And I think, again, he wasn't as driven as much in that Memphis series as he was in some of these other ones. But you have seen him as well, too. With the other guys, I mean, you know, Jalen Williams had a fantastic game in the last games. Everybody else is elevating around him, too. But you have seen, of course, Shea had that leveling up thing as well, too. And, I mean, Shea is 26. Like, Edwards, chat. I mean, Edwards, is he a little Tatum-y now with the playoff stuff? Because, of course, Shea had a couple of years there earlier on where they were just managing his, I guess, start of his career and the building of that team in a different way. So Edwards is 23. So Edwards is 3 seasons behind Shea at this point. But just in terms of total playoff runs, Shea is, I guess he had that early one with Chris Paul, and he had that series with the Clippers as well, too, where he was 13 a game, I guess. 46% of the field. So he is 38 career playoff games so far. And what was that, 4 different playoff years? So Edwards actually played in more playoff games than Shea, chat. So, I do think that they're, in terms of that playoff experience type aspect of it, like they maybe are a little bit more, like, again, there is a case that the seasoning is, is there equally in a way for both of them. But, regardless, Shea has been in, I guess Shea would have more like regular season minutes under his belt and would just have been in the league longer as well, too. So, but, it would have just, again, like a lot of it maybe, and, Edwards tonight has definitely been a little bit more attack. Like we were, again, tuned down to that second quarter. So I guess it would be interesting to see, again, the types of shots that Edwards was getting. I guess, was he settling a little bit? Was it at least just, again, the compliments, obviously, in an attempt to be more complimentary, as we should be in the analysis. I mean, the compliments and the praise should be given to OKC's defense. But just to check the tapes and see what happened. Like, what exactly are the shot attempts? But, again, there has been that little bit of a figuring out of a superstar that is. But I guess that kind of all... But and you just think even bigger picture as well, too. I guess, I don't know, like, when did Shea start playing basketball, chat? But, Edwards is a little bit of a... now we're starting to go way back, chat. Like, I guess he's not playing well in the Western Conference Finals because he started playing basketball at 14. But, again, it's the little nuances of it as well, too, where Shea has just been playing basketball his entire life, and that comfortability and knowing his spots and knowing the, pacing, not simple things like that. But, there's just a, extra whatever level of percentage level of comfortability that Shea has over Anthony Edwards in this type of moment that is obviously proving itself a major, major factor in this series, and the reason that Shea is the one carrying his team to the finals at this point in the playoff runs. Because, again, it really is just and I guess Halliburton is the other weird one as well, too. Because if Halliburton was playing the Thunder, I guess we'll literally see, chat. Like, that is on pace to be the finals matchup. So that is going to be another interesting one in the player dynamics. Like, I'm not trying to be too dramatic with the one side of it, with, like, saying, like, are we bumping guys down the rankings? I'm just trying to be open-minded to the bigger picture and just like, hey, are we actually... Like, what, to just be a perfectionist, I guess, chat, what is the most accurate version of the player rankings in the league? Like, if we ever do get to that, hypothetical, I guess, again, we are building teams around all these guys, but, redraft type situation, we can reset the league and build teams and start from scratch, or this player with 4 player X and this player with, versus this superstar with the same team. Like, what is the matchups? Like, if we ever do get in those situations, like, just like, what is the right matchup? And maybe even it changes as well, too. Like, Anthony Edwards with 4 different players and Tyrese Halliburton, or Anthony Edwards with 4 of just player X role guys with Tyrese Halliburton with the same sort of thing. Maybe that's a different situation than both of them with legendary type players or redraft situations. Again, it could be those type of margins that make a difference. And maybe, again, you change the margins a little bit. It's like I guess I'm not a scientist, chat. I don't know what a good analogy is for it, but maybe like a golf swing or something. I don't know why I'm not thinking of the one that's like something that's like, or no, I'm thinking like maybe like a chat, but like a sniper or something like that, where it's like if you're off, just if it seems like you're off just a little bit on your end, by the time it gets to the the end result, it's gonna be like way off or whatever. But maybe that's the margins in the NBA where it just, if it seems like, just make this one little tweak on the Timberwolves this way, and all of a sudden now the series completely flips, roster wise, whatever. And maybe it's not that dramatic as well too. But again, maybe with superstars, it can kind of work that way. But like we say, Edwards and Halliburton are starting from the league in the same exact place, so it's very, very close. It's very just one extra. Halliburton makes an extra round. Shea maybe takes down Halliburton in the finals, and it's all kind of the same thing, and then it's just, they played the Thunder earlier, so that's of course a part of it. Like, if the Pacers had flipped conferences, then they would have lost in the conference finals to the Thunder, and then maybe it's just the overall, like we're saying, the competitiveness of the opponents becomes the other part of the conversation into it as well too. And like we said, bigger term, building the teams around those guys. It's not, we're not doubting Edwards' ability to construct a team, but I guess that does become the question, chat, more so than, I guess, is the question, what can you get for Anthony Edwards? Or are we saying more like, how do you build a team around Anthony Edwards in this type of setting? And again, I'm not trying to be too dramatic, chat. I just hypocrite corner chat today. We're not just constantly having to say that we're trying to be, I guess, what we're not or whatever. But not trying to be too dramatic. But it does feel like maybe, again, just in the moment, this is also one of the most dramatic eliminations that we've seen in the playoffs this year. Also, it does, maybe some of the elimination games, again, obviously the teams have lost, but it does seem like in those games, there have been some pretty one-sided performances. Like, obviously, especially in the West, I guess, maybe even, like, I guess the Pacers and Cavs was kind of like, Pacers got him in that last game. Thunder, Nuggets, Nuggets versus Clippers, obviously. Now we're seeing Thunder versus T-Wolves. So, but, in all those different results, and, I think, check the tapes, chat. I think we've been pretty consistent if I say this. But I don't think we've been too dramatic, and, like, those teams should make crazy moves. Like, obviously, maybe Milwaukee, again, we want them to trade Giannis to San Antonio. But outside of that, I guess we did do a little, like, what could they potentially get for Dame? But it was just more the fun theory of, like, would there be a Dame for Embiid or a Dame for Paul George? Like, what would Philly sort of step in, and could there be a deal there? But, getting into, like, the actual real, like, maybe not so fun, but maybe more realistic trades or whatever moves that they could make. Like, we didn't get too, again, there's not like I guess we just haven't looked to see about them being too dramatic yet, because I guess the Giannis piece is the one thing that they still have to figure out. But, even Boston, like we said, Boston, I'd be more inclined to just run, not, necessarily run it back, still be smart about it all. But, again, not be too dramatic with any of these teams that have been eliminated. But it does feel like Minnesota could be the most dramatic team. Again, not in a bad way, but just maybe this roster is the most, like, okay, let's change this up. Because even Cleveland as well. Like, Cleveland, you still go Mitchell, Garland, Mobley, like that trio and the youth and the playoff experience that we could at least talk themselves into having over these last couple of years. Like, there is a case that team can still be better and unlocked. And maybe that's just as simple as that. Like, does it feel like this Minnesota team can get, I guess, obviously can get better than a 40-point, 35-point deficit in the Western Conference Finals. But does this feel like a team that could actually win the finals? It feels like a team that can, like it does feel like a team that should be able to rise to the occasion in a game-to-game basis. Like, there's going to be multiple games in the series where they should win and drag these out as much as possible. And like I said, Edwards could be a star player to get you hot for a couple series and get you into these type of stages. And, maybe we start pointing, is it this move? Is it this player? Is it this whatever? But it does feel like this one of the more recent playoff eliminations. I guess even, and, it is maybe some salary cap stuff as well too, and they're kind of in that same spot. But even Denver, like, I don't know if I'd be just ready to trade Jamal Murray after what we saw in the playoffs, chat. To be honest, like, again, the regular season is not great. And if you're saying, oh, well, I have to go through a whole, now we have to put that much on Jokic again in the regular season because Murray's not going to be able to get the night-to-night performance. But if we get to the playoffs, it's still not the most thrilling regular season. But maybe he's locked in for a better regular season as well, too. And with what we saw in the playoffs, just continuing, fourth quarter and just those heat check type shooting performances and great offensive nights. And again, was it even the night-to-night consistency that he had before? But still, it was there enough where you're like, this is still a guy that is obviously an important playoff player. Aaron Gordon, when he's healthy, he showed he's an important playoff player. And again, now we're at the top three guys in the team that you probably still want to keep around. So it's like, Porter Jr., we can trade Porter Jr. I mean, sure, but also that's kind of been a thing. Like, if there was a pretty good move for Porter Jr., they might have probably taken it. I don't know, Chad. I feel like they probably would have taken it, though, over the last couple of years if they really felt like they were obviously if they were going to get better value. But if they really, if maybe they, again, just weren't pursuing it. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe just, not enough people were calling them about Michael Porter Jr., I guess, with the right deal. But even I would say they feel less likely to do something major than Minnesota. Maybe that's a crazy take, Chad. I don't know. But you just think, Jokic, again, the Thunder might win the title this year. And the way they're cruising through the West, you still have to go, okay, well, what can we do to win over the Thunder? But you're kind of close. You're kind of close. So you go, maybe we show up in game 7 or whatever. But, you're right there. So Minnesota, maybe, again, it's just Minnesota wasn't in a game 7, I guess. They were in 5 and had the one game they won. It was like, did OKC give them that game by not showing up? But there does feel like have we seen enough of this roster sort of mentality? I guess, I would say even the Clippers, like I would not necessarily be surprised if the Clippers started saying, hey, we're good. Did we get Colin Cowherd in here? We're good. We've had enough. See you later. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they were saying that with some of the guys in their roster, but they also could just be like, hey, we liked having a really competitive team, and with this arena, like, if we can get one more seed out of it and at least get to the trade deadline, we at least can make the call at the trade deadline on some of the guys, which, again, I actually think might be a smart move of it as well, too. So I guess Minnesota could be a trade deadline team, but I guess the Randall piece of it as well, too, moves up the whole team timeline factor as well, because that's going to be a major decision that you're going to have to make just in the immediate offseason, where how many sort of expiring contracts and stuff do these other teams have as well, too, is maybe just another sort of coincidental factor with it as well, where, okay, they have contracts and they have guys that, do we need to make a decision with play style and pay, and is it lining up with what we want and what we need, and what is probably, like the Celtics, are these guys too expensive on the tax roll and all this different stuff. But it's not like there's like, okay, we need to, I guess Porzingis isn't expiring this year. It's not like, but we need to sign him right now, or he's not going to be on the team and there's going to be a move that's going to have to be made to fill that spot. Like, there's going to be a move that's going to be made. It's not just, well, we'll push it off or just not do it or whatever, but he'll still be, you get it, chat. But, yeah, for Minnesota, Edwards still in a pretty, chat, like, the Gobert, I guess, 3-year deal, $35 million. Chat, remember when Gobert $35 million? It's like, oh man, how are they ever going to get out of that? It's like, maybe actually now we're actually to the point where Gobert properly priced at $35 million. So it might actually maybe go up as well too. Maybe he gets to like 37 or 38. I don't know. Does he get to 43-ish? I don't know if he gets, I guess they do have the contract on here we could see. Yeah, he does get to 43. What a pull, chat. I don't know why I felt like it was 43, but I feel like back in the day we were looking up the Rudy Gobert contract. So, oh wait, player option in 2025 for 46. Did he is this our own stuff? Let's go to the Spo track here and see. Is Rudy getting close, chat? Hey, yo. Is Rudy getting close where you can see a light at the end of the tunnel? Let's get I guess this would be just a good way to, the best way to look at the contracts anyways. And then we can go in and maybe make some moves, chat. It's the third quarter of Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals, and we're already going to be trading Randall. It is what it is. Sign and trade. He's out of here, chat. So Gobert, for this past season, $43 million for this past season. Oh, chat. What a little contract trickery for Rudy Gobert. They gave him a little inflation in the middle, and then it kind of takes a dip in the last 2 years. So he still has, potentially 3 years left. But next year, $35 million, $36 million in 26-27, and $38 million in 27-28. I mean, again, $38 million is a pretty decent paycheck. Like, we don't want Russillo to sue us for copyright, chat, but we could make the jokes about whether or not he's going to opt into that. But that would be an interesting one to see where the league, obviously, I guess Gobert is going to be in his mid-30s at that point, so he might just, his market, again, it would be what is his market value. But I guess, what does a $38 million a year player in 27-28 look like? If some of these guys, if there's going to be guys on $80 million a year salaries maybe in 27-28, like, is Embiid under contract that long, chat? Hey, yo. How, because he has I think, just now kicking in with his next extension, so I'm pretty sure it would. And he would be on a max. So 27-20, I guess maybe not quite 80 million, chat. Hey, yo, we're getting a little dramatic. But 69 for Embiid, yo. And 28-29. So we're, hovering in that 70 million range in the 27-28-ish seasons. So, it'd be like still half of a max contract, I guess. Still quite a bit for Rudy Gobert. But maybe not in untradeable territory as well, too, chat. I don't know. I guess, sometimes just like go with your gut. You know what? Again, no disrespect to Rudy Gobert, but what moves would you be making if you were running a team? It's like, well, I don't know if I'd be necessarily pursuing a trade. So you can't just write off every GM in the league as thinking as yourself. But if you just trust your gut as maybe to what a majority are thinking, then, who knows what is the wish list for that type of player. But McDaniels now, the extension, I guess, is in, I'm guessing that is what this is, chat. But he's going to be making 23, 24, 26, 28, and then $30 million for, I guess he's on the 23 this year, 24, 25, but then 24, 26, 28, and 30 through the 29-28 season as well, too. So he'll only be maybe, 5, 6, 7, 28 years old in 28, chat. I guess we could have just done the math right there, 24 and 24. But, so, he'll be at the peak of his powers making $30 million. That's actually not a bad contract, potentially. He is still a bit of a what is the upside ultimately with him, but it's still, the pieces are there for a really special player at $30 million a year at 28 years old. That's kind of a steal, honestly. That's a pretty good contract. That's the type of thing that you never know could make up for the Gobert thing. You have Gobert and McDaniels making $60 million a piece, and McDaniels like third team All NBA. You're like, yeah, it's not too bad. But, or maybe like, all-star replacement for Jaden McDaniels. That'd still be good, Chad, at $30 million a year. That's where kind of that Derek White level is right now. OKC is not going to let up, chat. 30-point performance, right? A 30-point lead right now. They said Shea in the first half scored or assisted on as many points as the Thunder had, or as the OKC. Hey, yo, chat. Take two. They said Shea had as many points scored or assisted as the Wolves had as a team in the first half, 32 total. And they also had as many forced turnovers as the T-Wolves had baskets, I think. So, I don't think that included maybe like some free throws and stuff in there. But in terms of giving up field goals and turnovers, which is, just crazy stuff, Chad. Obviously, dominant performances, but also, there's the other side of it as well, too. DiVincenzo, 11 and is not bad. Conley at 9 and 10 as well, too. Then you still have Dillingham, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He's a free agent this year, chat. So that's a bummer. You might lose Nickeil Alexander-Walker in free agency. Terrence Shannon, 2 and 2. And then some player club options still on the rookie deal, of course, after being drafted this year. I guess makes sense. Leonard Miller, non-guaranteed. You got to guarantee the Leonard Miller contract. Where's Leonard Miller, chat? It's still a 28-point game with 5 minutes left in the third. Chris Finch, call it a day. You're done. Nothing else is going to happen here in the last 17 and a half minutes that is going to change the course of what is potentially unavoidable for the offseason for Minnesota. So, let's see Leonard Miller. Let's see. Honestly, Chris Finch, if you want to save, I guess maybe, Chris Finch could be fine. Who knows, Chad. But if you want to save your job, Chris Finch, I think maybe the best way to do it would be to play the younger players and be like, oh, well, hey, maybe him with some of these younger guys might actually be something. If they go on a run here with Chris Finch as their head coach in the fourth quarter, get this down to like 12, it's like, well, Chris Finch and Dillingham next to Anthony Edwards, still maybe not that bad. They have Bones Highland on a two-way, and they're not using him in this series? Bones Highland, chat. I'm going to be honest. I know that Chad, we may have found one of the guys. I know we've said we've been a lot of pro guys. I think it's just Bones Highland's play style. We may not necessarily be pro, but that's also not true, chat. We're also very pro Bones Highland's confidence on the Rem and Sam pod. So I take it all back. We're pro Bones Highland. Nashawn Highland on the Rem and Sam pod. I guess Bones Highland is a little crazy, chat. But we're pro Highland on the hey, what are we saying? We're pro Nashawn Highland on the Rem and Sam pod. But a two-way contract, chat? And he's just, well, I guess what we were going to say is they might have actually been able to use his just irrational confidence in this series. I guess, could you play a two-way guy in this game? Is that even allowed? But just a guy to be like, oh, well, you need somebody to think that they can get 9 quick points right now? They could have used Bones Highland in the first quarter right away when Edwards like, I don't know, I don't want to take a shot, I'm good. But you know who will take shots if Anthony Edwards is looking to pass? He can pass right to Bones Highland. And the shots are up, chat. So, I mean, does that inspire maybe the first move on the trade machine, chat? The Timberwolves, you know who they need? They need offense. They need irrational confidence. Anthony Edwards needs somebody to go either, you know, I got this in the big moment. We didn't think that Anthony Edwards needed that guy, chat. But maybe he needs that guy to just, at least from a shot-making standpoint, help him out. He needs Cam Thomas! Put up the bat signal for Cam Thomas, and let's get Cam Thomas on this team. Is he a free agent, chat? Oh, no. Ooh, wait a second. A little Julius Randle, Cam Thomas sign-in trade. You know, people have been criticizing 2025 free agency, chat, but if Cam Thomas is a free agent, then don't underrate it. Don't underrate it. You're just 30 points a game. You can just sign, just on the market. Who knows, chat? Might be the best points per dollar value that you can get. I guess we're gonna have to go to the SPO track again and just go into the team page and see what's going on with Brooklyn here. Because I guess he wasn't. Maybe there's like a non-guaranteed thing, or we just didn't see him. But I mean, make no mistake, chat. I feel like we're programmed to just notice Cam Thomas appearances when he shows up. Dead money, cap holds. Cameron Thomas, $4 million this year, and then restricted free agent, chat. That's what it is. Restricted free agent. So he's still on the rookie deal. I guess I would have just assumed that. I didn't realize that there was gonna be like a restricted free agency thing on there and whatever. But Minnesota signed the offer sheet. Can they do a sign and trade with the restricted free agent? Maybe that's easier. I don't know. I guess maybe there's not a. The only difficult logistics would just be the cap rules, not necessarily anything else besides that. But I wonder what the possibilities are there. I guess we're just not gonna be quick enough to dig that up in the CBA live on the stream. Maybe we'll have to try to find the rules on that later. But yeah, Cam Thomas is just like, we need just points on the bench right now. Obviously, you know, Cam Thomas could be too valuable to the Brooklyn Nets' future that they might not want to give him up, chat. They may just want to lock him in. And use, you know, who else are they going to use their cap space on? A superstar, chat? Who's Cam Thomas going to be playing next to in the draft? Because Brooklyn got disrespected in the lottery, make no mistake. I guess Cam Thomas as well, too. The face of the Brooklyn franchise got disrespected in the lottery. Where that number 8. So where does that put them in the mock draft here? Range type guy. Oh, maybe they get Knuppel. Knuppel or our guy Jack Ukonis. Kasparis Jack Ukonis. Hey, yo, chat. I don't know about him. That does feel like a Nets guy, but I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Malik next to Clowney and Nick Claxton could be interesting lineup as well too, chat. Boyles, Murphy, Queen could be fun if they were like thinking maybe they want to, you know, make some moves on some of the other guys. Jace Richardson moves up. Carter Bryant as well. Clifford. I feel like there might be a scorer maybe or something that moves up. I guess Clayton with 20 is an obvious one. Wait, where's our guy Danny Wolf at, chat? How far is he up in some of these lists? Oh, is he second round on Tankathon? Hey, yo, is Danny Wolf going back to Michigan? No, there he is. Okay, he's still at 23 to the Pacers. I want to say that the fine folks over at the Ringer, and make no mistake, chat, if you have Danny Wolf ranked in like the top in our books, chat, on the REMINGTOM pod if you're pro Danny Wolf, but they also, again, are pro Danny Wolf, so that is just, you know, they're Danny Wolf ranked over Jace Richardson. Yeah, chat, take that, Michigan State. It is what it is, but you know, we're pro Jace Richardson as well too. It's a compliment, chat. He's won our hearts as a NBA prospect. Even, I guess maybe that's a little bit strong. We shouldn't say that. We have to admit his upside, and I guess we would take him on our team. It is what it is, chat. We would want him on the Spurs. A Michigan State guy. Branham we do have on the Spurs, of course, he's an Ohio State guy. And I like Branham's game in the draft. I think maybe some of the advanced stats, I don't know if the projections on that have necessarily been perfect, but I don't know if he is I would be as excited about Branham as I would Jace Richardson. And he's a little bit higher in the draft range. Branham, I think, was like in the 20s when we took him. We got him and Wesley maybe in the 20s in kind of picks in similar range. But maybe Branham was teens as well, too. I don't exactly remember. But I would have a little bit more just hope for Jace Richardson's career as well, too. 6'1" 3/4 on the height? Is that without shoes? Hey, yo, chat. Okay, is he going back down the big board? Hey, yo. But Cam Thomas, I guess, should we start with, well, what do the Timberwolves have to work with in the draft? I'm assuming they don't have, I guess, okay, here, we can't quite see their own pick yet, so we know that they definitely don't have their own pick, but do they have somebody else's pick? Did it work back around? I'm trying to remember their trades, chat. They definitely did. The post-lottery is chaos here, chat. It's like a slow reveal. It's like the camera pans around and just chaos and whatever in the back half of the lottery. Oh, we're in the mock, not the trading version of it. So Minnesota's pick goes to, where's it at, chat? Minnesota's pick goes to the Jazz. But Minnesota has Detroit's pick. Okay, there we go, chat. So Minnesota has the 17th pick in the draft. Their own pick would have been the 21st pick. Let's see here, chat. Oh, so they have 17 and 31. Whoa, chat. Whoa. I'm very, very excited there about the 31st pick. They got basically the next pick out of the first round. Is pretty big. Yeah, they got the next pick out of the first round, chat. Is basically a pretty big deal. They could get Hugo Gonzalez, potentially. International prospect. Ryan Calibrenner, chat. Could be. Janai Broom. If they want to get no vertical leap and one of their prospects. Janai Broom, could he take the Julius Randle spot? That could be an interesting replacement, chat. Get him a couple of spots higher in the mock than you'd expect. I don't know if this is Timberwolves draft corner or not. Chaz Lanier feels like oh man, chat, one pick before the Spurs. We want Chad Lanier on the Spurs. Sion James, yeah, there we go. That might be the best pick in the draft, honestly. The pick we most agree with. The Jazz getting our guy Golden as well too, out of Michigan, that does feel like kind of a jazzy player. Him, I guess maybe he kind of Walker Kessler, and Filipowski, and all of those guys playing together would be nuts. And Mark Sears getting drafted. Mark Sears, chat. If they, whatever sort of the upside version of Mark Sears is a veteran. He's not going to be a veteran point guard as a rookie, but as maybe a calming point guard presence, he is a little throwbacky with the point guard stuff as well too. Per 36, a 20 and 5.7. So maybe he is a little Garlandy more so, like a little bit of a balance between the point and the playmaking distribution versus, he's obviously not like Chris Paul with the playmaking, but he's not Ja Morant with the scoring, but really great balanced player. Proctor is now in the top 45, it looks like, as well. And I guess Clayton on the Magic is kind of fun, chat, because obviously I think that could be a team that could really accentuate his just three-point shooting ability. I mean, they obviously need the floor spacing, but with the defense and some of the athleticism around him, like you think about what Cole Anthony has been able to be impact-wise in some of those lineups. Like Walter Clayton could be the Cole Anthony on the floor, but maybe a different style of player that could be more beneficial. And I guess Cole Anthony's creation as well, too, off the bench has definitely been needed for this team at times. But maybe with them relying more on some of the other guys as playmakers going forward as well. Now, time for Paolo and Franz to take over, Chad. It is what it is. You need Walter Clayton's sort of floor spacing as well, too. So there's Magic draft corner. Magic with 16 and 25? So the Magic are a player in the draft, chat. I didn't realize that. What do the Spurs have here at 14? Do the Magic want to give us 16? They want to give us 25 to move up 2 picks? I doubt it, but maybe, I don't know, we start going. We give them 38? Could we get 14? Can we get 16 and 25 for 14 and 38? So would they move back 13 spots to move up 2 spots, essentially? And would we move up 2 spots, move back 2 spots to move up. I think Spurs fans, at 14, after winning the number 2 pick and getting Dylan Harper potentially or Giannis, that's a pretty good either or, Chad, is what it seems like. But I guess unless, the Concanupple stock really rises between now and draft time, which is still, like, I guess maybe at this point less than a month away. Date-wise, I don't know. Is it on a Wednesday? It might be. July, I'm looking at the calendar here. Let me see. June. I think, yeah. It might be a month from now, chat. In terms of week-wise. I don't know, day-wise. The 25th. I think it might be the 25th of June. So the 25th to the 28th. I don't know if that's technically a month, but it's close enough. But yeah, so Magic fans, slide in the DMs. Let us know. Would you do 16 and 25 for 14? And they go, why would we move back 13 spots to move up 2 spots? That would make sense. Only if Danny Wolf was on the board, I guess. But yeah, we were focusing on Minnesota at 17. So that is interesting, chat. They do have 17 in the draft, so they do at least have a pick to work with on draft night. OKC is cheering. Is the third quarter finally over? Hey, yo, chat. Is Minnesota finally out of their misery? The fourth quarter. This honestly will be the best part of the game, like we're saying. We've Rod Dillingham and Terrence Shannon. I like it because moments like this, the score just resets. It doesn't matter anymore. Like, you have to drag through and just watch, like, oh, Edwards is getting taken down by 30. Naz Reid, they can't play basketball. Rudy Gobert is all terrible. But then once you sub in, it's like, who cares about the score? And who even cares if they play good? Just the one time that Terrence Shannon hits a basket. To be like, see? He should be playing. The Spurs should be trading for Terrence Shannon. He's on the list, chat. The wish list. Terrence Shannon. How many seconds? 25 for Terrence. Or wait, I guess we don't have 25 yet, chat. We haven't made that trade with the Magic yet. So 38 for Terrence Shannon. But would we give up 14 for Terrence Shannon? Would they give us 17 and Terrence Shannon for 14? I don't know if that's, again, 3 spots, a little much. Maybe if for some reason we trade it up and then they could trade up even more as a byproduct. Like if one of these teams wanted to trade back for some reason. And so offseason move number 1, how do the Spurs get Terrence Shannon from the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves make sense for them to win a title? I guess the thing is now, again, managing the cap with, I guess the thing always should have been managing the cap with the future of Edwards. But, now as well, too, as maybe some of this stuff becomes more manageable. And I guess we should double check here what the Edwards contract is, well, too, because I'm just assuming that second extension is going to be like in the mid-40s, but maybe it could get up into the mid-50s as well, too. Let's see. Oh, wait. We were even into the free agent class as well, too. So, yeah, I guess he, like we were saying, he would be a restricted free agent anyways. Maybe the restricted free agent class is the place to attack this year, chat. Josh Giddey, Kuminga, maybe that goes unrestricted pretty quick. Zaire Williams, speaking of Nets, guys. Davion Mitchell. I think Davion Mitchell wants to stay in Miami, though, so he'll probably make that work if possible. Trey Mann could be interesting as a heat check guy off the bench. A little free agency preview, chat. I guess let's just sort here real quick and see what we got for the restricted free agent market. Today we're going through restricted free agents. Tomorrow we'll be going through player options, and after that, we'll break it down, chat. But yeah, I mean, again, some of the guys that people have talked about for just like who were the high class free agents this year. Let's go back. We got I guess LeBron, but did we see a post that I guess I don't know if it was fake or not that LeBron's opted in, but LeBron's not going anywhere, chat. Simmons on his pod was floating out and I guess now he's going to go. Now that we've said this, he's going to go to the Cavs. But he was floating out the LeBron to the Cleveland thing again. I mean, it is fun, the idea of him returning in Cleveland. But I guess at this point, not to be too critical of his game, but, obviously his impact as well, too, basketball is just different. So not to say that the Cavs, he wouldn't impact the Cavs and make them a more formidable Eastern Conference team. But, is he actually in a spot to be chasing titles anymore, Chad? I don't know, unfortunately, if that is going to be what is happening next season or not. And, has that been what is happening? But the man's, even I'll admit it, Chad, the man's in LA. It is what it is. But Van Fleet, Kyrie, James Harden, Middleton, Randall, Collins, Brooke Lopez, Capella. I mean, these are all sort of the big money guys from the previous contracts that are up for free agency. And, the restricted free agency obviously is a byproduct. It'll be younger, more, obviously more upside in those type of prospects. But you've got Wendell Carter as a potential guy. Mac McClung, restricted free agent. Kessler Edwards, we still got stock. David Duke, is that the streamer chat? Trenton Flowers, restricted free agent. I feel like he just got drafted. I still got some Trenton Flowers stock. Good. I feel like, where's the scoring highlights for our guy Trenton Flowers? Ayo, maybe that's the problem, chat. Where are they? Trey Alexander. Okay, maybe we actually need to find some names. Okay, Beauchamp is kind of interesting. I don't know if that is what we're exactly saying. Saldama, here we go, chat. Santi Aldama, restricted free agent. That's a guy that you got to try to get if you're a team. Cam Jones, or Cam Thomas, like we were saying. Quentin Grimes, for sure. You got to attack if you can. Trey Mann could be interesting. Zaire Williams, yeah, David Mitchell. So those were the guys, I guess. Giddey, Kuminga, Mitchell, Grimes, Cam Thomas, and Santi Aldama. But that is a little bit more, if not, maybe not more, but it is at least as much interesting as the other group of guys that we were talking about with, who else was in that mix, chat? We got to go back. Not LeBron, but I guess Van Fleet, Kyrie, Harden, Randall Middleton, Collins Lopez. Oh, the other ones, yeah, much more interesting, chat. Much more interesting. Naz Reid, player option for 15. So that's interesting as well, too. Do the Timberwolves fans, do you guys secretly, I guess you guys don't want Naz Reid to opt out because he's beloved, and at $15 million, he's still a pretty good value. But what do you do? So I guess it also is in a position where, like, if they lose these guys, their contracts, I don't know if they necessarily get added back into the salary cap where they can just sign another $15 million guy if he doesn't pick up his option as well, too. So maybe their best way to acquire the best talent, of course, for $15 million is just, hey, we need Naz Reid to be opting back into that contract. And I still have faith in Naz Reid as a playoff guy. I still like his dynamic as a stretch 4-5 on this team next to Edwards, who can, again, space the floor as Edwards attacks, or he can be a bully ball rebounder as well, too. Again, he's not maybe a full-on, like, rim protector defensive guy, but I think there can be a double-double-y three-point spacing thing with his game, and the six-man role can be great as well, too, and then elevating his importance as you need in the playoffs is perfect. And then, 25 years old, $15 million a year, like, let's hope he opts back into that and takes contract. But again, if you're just looking at, like, to be honest, Chad, Naz Reid at 25, Naz Reid might be able to get, is there a market, do they have market value for the NBA? I don't know if they do, but maybe they have similar contracts. I guess we could go, maybe that's in the premium, chat. What does it say on Basketball Reference is his similar scores for win shares? I don't know if that's going to be a great way to calculate contract as well, too. Big Jelly for Naz Reid? 2 words is his nickname? That's not even a nickname, chat, but Big Jelly is interesting. I don't know if that's a... Hey, yo. But, is it not going to have it this early in his career? Oh, here we go, chat. Earl Lloyd! Yeah, I don't know if his contract is going to be similar to Earl Lloyd. But Lauri Markkanen is interesting. So he's obviously, again, like a little more, six-man Markkanen is not too far off. Markkanen, I think, is maybe more in the $40 million a year range. So Naz Reid might be $25 million a year-ish. Yeah, Lauri Markkanen is $42 a year. So is there a sign-and-trade potential for Markkanen, chat? Naz Reid and some, I guess, can you aggregate? I guess they are out of the second apron. So let's see here. I guess, again, Naz Reid, can we actually, maybe the Spotrac trade machine might be the way to go here, chat. Let's see. We're in the weeds again. Once again, chat. Last night it was the Knicks just in a letdown performance against the Pacers. And I don't even, who even remembers what the random rabbit holes that we went down last night were. But we're just going to get in the weeds here and look at some of these contracts and just see what's up. So, okay, wait a second. Focus, chat. What were we looking at? Minnesota. Trying to see if the trade machine... Oh, here we go, chat. Propose a trade. I don't know if the Spotrac trade machine is the best one, but we will see. Maybe it's improved, chat, and we just need to give it a chance. So, Minnesota... see, I guess we got to find the team here. So I guess we could cross-reference as well, too. Oh, but wait, focus, chat. we were going to go sign and trade Markkanen to Minnesota via the Jazz. So we could maybe have to add a third team in here somewhere, but I guess just to see what is possible as well, too. So Naz Reid, send him to Utah. I guess maybe the only way to trade him is to have him opt out. So if he opts out, I guess they don't have like full roster management on here as well. Do you have to download the app? NBA Trade Machine app? Hey, yo, chat. Why don't we have the app? But, hey, I don't know if that's going to be the best way to solve that. Because, again, Markkanen is a bit of a number, so maybe it would have to be Gobert and Naz Reid and, start putting guys together what's possible. But Naz Reid might be a potential lever, chat. I don't know. Julius Randle as well, too, can go. So I guess you could do multiple sign-in trades, obviously, involving each of these guys. And you do, like we're saying, I guess I'm not going to be perfect figuring out what's possible here if we have a hypothetical re-sign number. So if we just compared them to other contracts in the league, of course, with inflation and the salary cap going up, there may be a little bit more of a cost to bring in some of these guys than just their actual talent comparison across the league. But 50 million, 40 million, okay, are they in that range? Sengun at 37 million. So Randall versus Sengun, Randall versus Porter Jr. at 35. That's where you start making your case, chat. Porter Jr. is making 35, so I got to make 35. But Gordon at 35 as well, too. So what was Randall's player option this year? 30 million? Ooh, chat, that's a cutoff. That is right, I think, maybe on the line. He could go for the longevity, so maybe Minnesota just right now is like, no, we're not committed to the long-term contract right now. And then some other team, of course, is like, yeah, we'll do 3 for 35. And then it's like, well, okay, yeah. I mean, I'll take the 3 for 35. Just give me the 2 extra years and the 5 more million this year, and we'll call it good. But if there is not just a competitive edge to him, but if there is some, I guess, attachment to what this is, which I don't know if what we've seen on the court there is, which I guess maybe is the question to what we're saying of them mixing things up and moving on. Pairing the rookies of the year, chat, we bring in LaMelo Ball. I don't know if Randall is going to be the guy to get that move done. Jaden McDaniels for LaMelo Ball, chat. Whoa! Whoa! Are we speaking Sam's language now? We got LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert, chat. That's a big 3. The Bleacher Report graphic is going to go crazy. LaMelo Ball is $37 million a year, so it's going to have to be one more piece. I think as good as McDaniels is, I think that's right, about another piece short. So can you trade McDaniels and Naz Reid in a sign and trade for LaMelo Ball? That's a lot for LaMelo Ball, chat. Hey, yo. Conley? Uh-oh. Conley on the expiring. He thought he was going to get a ring, chat. He's going to be retiring in Charlotte. Hey, yo. Hopefully this doesn't work for Conley's sake. Conley is saved, chat. Oh, Charlotte, much better. Whoa, Minnesota, don't do this move, McDaniels. The McDaniels to LaMelo drop-off is not much. Okay, $2.3 million away. So luckily Mike Conley's contract not quite enough to be bought in. So maybe that works out, though. Maybe this ends up being a 3 for 2. It's not like Minnesota. I guess they do have 17 this year, like you're saying. So a draft night trade, 17 and 31 in the mix, that could help, honestly. I know that's going to limit our potential for, I guess, not limit the potential for what the moves they can make, but at least, the day at which they're making this move, it's like, okay, all our hypothetical trades are out the board on draft night if they don't trade the number 17th pick. But I think maybe at this point, on the trade machine, it says in the offseason you can only trade this type of move. With stipend rule, because of the stipend rule, you can only trade your pick if you don't have it consecutive years, obviously, on draft night. But I don't know if that changes after the lottery. So I guess we'll throw it into the trade here. And see, after we chug this water, chat. And OKC, I think, might just be determined to keep it a 30-point game. Why is Chet in the game? Chet's frail, Chet. Chet's fragile. You gotta handle with care. Pause. You can't have him out there with 5 minutes left in a fourth quarter up 30 points. staring at a finals appearance. I mean, OKC, chat. The crowd is packed. I mean, I guess the starters can't leave because the fans haven't left. Okay, I respect it, chat. I respect it. The fans get up and leave and start going, oh, well, you know, we're get ahead of the parking. It's a 30-point game. We'll be back for the finals. But OKC is great, chat. They are top-notch fans in the league. You know, how much more critical or how much more complimentary can we be of Sam Presti and the players and all this stuff? Like we get it. The Spurs are here, chat. Don't worry. We'll step up to take the belt in a second. This annoying Thunders team that doesn't even have the belt yet. But the fans, I mean, you just always got to give them love. They're great. The OKC fans are what make OKC games so much fun, chat, really. I mean, obviously OKC's had great teams, great players, but again, just great environments as well too. So McDaniels and Conley back to the trade machine. Maybe they have to throw in a little, DiVincenzo, Dillingham. It starts getting a little thin, chat. It starts getting crazy. I guess Leonard Miller still only 21. Hey yo, chat. Yeah, where is Leonard Miller? Where is the Terrence Shannon minutes we thought we could expect? I mean, Dort's hitting threes, chat. This is gonna go to 40. Put Terrence Shannon in again. Chris Finch, call a timeout. I don't even care if... there we go. Okay, they're going to the bench, Chad. This has got to be it. 6.5 minutes of... Hey, yo, whoa. I was going to say 6.5 minutes of Leonard Miller is crazy, Chad, but you get it. Basketball terms. Daquan Jeffries could potentially be in this trade as well, too, Chad. Just as a contract, I guess he is. There he goes. So... Leonard Miller, I would have a little bit of stock in as well, too, Chet. That'd be a fun... I mean, Leonard Miller and McDaniels, this could be a steal for Daquan Jeffries and LaMelo Ball. Hey, yo, Chet. Hey, yo, we might have to do one more piece than Daquan Jeffries, unfortunately. I don't know. Saloon might be a little too much. Okogie? Again, you think Minnesota a little bit more win now. I don't know if you want another center option behind Gobert. Diabate? At 23 years old, that's not bad. KJ Simpson. I guess he's on a two-way. I thought... Am I remembering that correctly? Did KJ Simpson have a couple nice minutes, or am I thinking of somebody else? Nick Smith? You don't want two LaMelo Balls in the trade, Chad. Let's go Diabate in the trade, just because. Because I guess, Okogie at $7 million is a little bit more of a difference. But this is kind of even in terms of the contracts. McDaniels, Leonard Miller, and Conley for LaMelo Ball and Diabate? Hey, yo, Chad. So maybe Minnesota is trading that 17 pick as well too. That's I don't know, the 31 pick. Leonard Miller, McDaniels. I guess again Minnesota's given up a lot. That's a good trade for Charlotte. So is Charlotte giving a pick back here? 33, and they have 32 or 33 and 34. Oh, back-to-back picks in the second round, chat. This becomes like a little bit of an NFL trade. So you've got LaMelo Ball, Diabate, and 33 for McDaniels, Conley, and Leonard Miller. Is this even, chat? Minnesota fans. Oh, it's not even on the contracts, chat. What are we doing? What are we doing? Diabate, $2.2 million is $104,000 too much. LaMelo Ball. Donate to charity so we can get this trade in or something. I don't know. So Nick Smith might be in the trade. Oh, I guess it's too much. I guess Diabate was the cheapest guy on the roster. So $104K, chat. Can we just hypothetically say the league is going to look the other way on that? With just cash considerations. I don't know how we work around it, but it feels like of all the hypothetical trade logistic, maybe it doesn't quite work. That one's pretty close. I'm trying to remember. I don't know exactly what the closest number is. Is that a goal, chat? Like, how strict is it actually? Because I do think I cooked up one that was like 80,000 off. It's like, at what point does it just get tricked? Because I feel like that has happened as well too in the trade machine, where it'll be like, you need $7 million, and maybe that's more old trade machine, but I still feel like even now still with certain cap situations that'll happen where you'll be like, it'll need $7 million to complete the trade, but you throw in a guy, get it like $4 million the difference, and then it'll be like, oh, actually, yeah, it works. We're just kidding with the $7 million. It works with the $4 million. But yeah, there's certain with the aprons, whichever apron you're in, it becomes more and more strict. So $104,000 is crazy, Chad. So another, I guess they're not going to give up number 4, but do they start doing a 31 for 33 and 30? Now this is the problem with trades, Chad. And this is why the trade machine can get a little sticky sometimes. Hey, because then you just start going, okay, well, now you need to throw in this piece. And then it's like, okay, well, now we need 1 more piece and 2 more pieces and all this stuff. So now it's a major makeover going the other way. But I guess, again, Conley, Leonard Miller, and Jalen Clark aren't necessarily big players in the rotation for this year. So you're really, for the instant sort of lineup of it, going with LaMelo Ball for Jaden Daniels. Yeah, Dillingham, chat. Is that Kyle Anderson? Wait, who's in the game? Benoit? Who is that? Wait, what team is Kyle Anderson on, chat? I forget. We saw him in the playoffs. But, I don't know. Kyle Anderson just kind of exists in the NBA. And then when he shows up, you're like, oh, yeah, Kyle Anderson. Shout out. But Dort gets a moment to shine as well, too. Yeah, Chet's just, I guess that's just how good the Thunder are. Chet's just still in the game. I mean, I guess Jalen Williams is still in the game. Caruso, I'd expect to be in the game. Case and Wallace for sure, but you still got Dort, Chet, and Jalen Williams. It's kind of crazy, chat. 5.5 minutes. I mean, Luka Garza is in the game. Shout out. Luka Garza switching out on Chet, playing defense. Oh, Chet cooked him. Hit the 3 right in his face. I was going to say maybe Garza should have been out there before, but Terrence Shannon, don't give it back to Dillingham. You're going to get a shot up here. Terrence Shannon, it's your moment to shine. Yeah, finally, Mark Daigneault. His worst coaching decision of the season was to keep the Thunder's players in until 5 minutes left. I guess, it's like it's like at the end of the season, like they're not going to be back in OKC. Like the finals are at a neutral site. I mean, again, it's just how great the finals are. But I mean, these fans, the next game is going to be an OKC, chat. We're going to be back Sunday in OKC. Like, we'll see this team again. So save the health, chat. Let's see Kendrick Williams. Give the man a chance. Isaiah Joe. Let's Isaiah Joe get some rhythm before the finals. You're going to need Isaiah Joe spacing against the Pacers, chat. But we throw in Jalen Clark's contract, and then, I don't know, we have to throw in a second-round pick for next year. Do we have to throw in anything more with Jalen Clark? I don't know if even this trade is worth pursuing. But it does feel borderline. Again, the hypothetical LaMelo Jaden Daniels does feel borderline. And it's an interesting swing. I think McDaniels as well, too, as like we're saying, the type of player around Edwards, it's a good style fit if McDaniels continue to trend properly as a player. But, yeah, the Hornets get way better. Chat, bringing in Jalen Clark, Leonard Miller, and Conley. So, I guess LaMelo and Diabate is not enough. So, we could go with a little bit more than Diabate. So, Okogie is back in the trade. Nurkic? Okay, Josh Green is... Josh Green at 13 mil. It becomes a little bit of a different trade at that point. So Saloon, Mark Williams back in the trade machine. Maybe. Who knows, chat? Okay, so Bridges, LaMelo and Bridges for McDaniels. And we go LaMelo and Bridges for McDaniels and Naz Reid, chat. Are we getting interesting now? It's feeling a little too dramatic almost. A little too unrealistic. But Josh Green might be interesting, chat. Josh Green he's going to boost the number a little bit. So all of a sudden Leonard Miller is not going to do it. I don't know. I think the 104 was about as close as we were going to get, honestly. Unless, we have to lose Leonard Miller in the deal and then go Josh Benoit on the team option. Or Garza again. But wait, what was Leonard Miller? Was he 2.2? Yeah, 2.2, so even Terrence Shannon, 2.6. Well, wait a second. Terrence Shannon would be more on the outgoing, so maybe that's what we needed. So was this the deal? McDaniels, Conley, and LaMelo Ball, and then it was Diabate originally, who I still am talking myself into. I guess, I don't know if I have a ton of Diabate moments. I don't even know if I have Diabate stock, but I'll support your wishes to get Diabate stock. For sure. Okay, so this works. Again, it's not great on the win, so maybe there's another move. But do the advanced stats really like McDaniels, or do they just really hate LaMelo? You don't think LaMelo's floor spacing next to Anthony Edwards is going to work, chat? Anthony Edwards and Diabate. I guess Terrence Shannon as well, too, is pretty good. That's a good get for the Hornets. McDaniels, Terrence Shannon, and Mike Conley. But, again, LaMelo is a jersey-selling guy, chat. You're giving up a franchise. McDaniels does make sense, too, makes sense for a lot of teams. but he could make sense for that lineup next to Brandon Miller and next to Saloon and who else are we forgetting, chat? That's their main core players. Brandon Miller and I guess Mark Williams as well too, but I guess also LaMelo. I guess they're trading LaMelo though in this situation. Yeah, why are they trading LaMelo, chat? Why are the Hornets doing this trade? Jaden Daniels for LaMelo, get out of here. LaMelo's a star. They wouldn't want this. I think Sam would want this because again, it gets LaMelo back in the Western Conference, in the Western Conference Finals with Anthony Edwards potentially, and Leonard Miller would be a fun wing get as well too on this team. But yeah, that could be a fun role player, as like we're saying, next to role player all-star. Another Eastern Conference all-star next year if he gets traded to the Hornets. Him and Brandon Miller with the way the East is looking. But so there we go, chat. There's a trade. LaMelo. And it's like, what do they have for moves to make? Like, it just might be, that's the guy, that's the easy trade machine cook-up right away. Here, let's refresh the full page so we can reset the order. Chat, I've got trade machine OCD. I'm not going to, respect to the people with actual OCD. I'm not going to sit here and, stolen valor, chat. But for the trade machine, of course, it is nice to see all the contracts in ascending order. See, now, I don't have OCD because I think maybe, would an OCD person know the actual right word to say? Is that part of OCD? Is proper grammar? I don't know, see, because that would be words in the right place. So, I don't know how crazy the OCD is. It's like, no, your sentence is out of whack, chat. But at least for NBA trade machine contract stuff, we are a little OCD-ish sometimes in that range. Here, let's go a little bit smaller on the camera as well, too. Just so we can see a little bit more there. Okay, chat, so LaMelo Ball potentially. I guess Halliburton, if we're going that draft class, probably not going to be on the trade machine for anybody besides Anthony. I guess maybe not even Anthony Edwards. Halliburton, again, might be moving into untradeable range, chat. I don't know. I'll be revisiting that, I guess, when the Pacers get eliminated or taken down in the finals by the Thunder. Hey, yo, chat. 122 to 85. Yikes. But New York, is there a New York fix in here? Bridges and McDaniels, very similar contracts. So it would be in a 1-for-1. It doesn't feel like McDaniels is quite enough. But you start maybe a Nasri Randall back to the Knicks, chat. I don't know what that would look like. And I don't know, Gobert? Do the Knicks need Gobert? Do the Knicks want Conley as a backup point guard? DiVincenzo back in New York. Could be interesting. Josh Hart for DiVincenzo and some other stuff. Trading the Villanova guys for each other again. I don't know. So probably not going to be a New York team fix. Like we're saying, Boston is a team that's going to be Boston. I guess that was 0-for-2 on the Boston accent there, chat. They are going to be a team that is looking to make moves. Like Drew Holiday, maybe we've mentioned this before, but we haven't looked at it, I guess, on the actual trade machine. He is an interesting guy maybe for Minnesota. Who knows? I guess just an interesting veteran point guard guy for anybody. The youth still in favor of McDaniels, I think maybe doesn't make him a 1-for-1-ish trade piece with Holiday. And again, maybe it makes more like the Celtics are trading for McDaniels than the Boston Celtics are trading for Drew Holiday more so. But, between Holiday and Porzingis, they do have a lot of contracts. They could get out there. And Porzingis isn't expiring. So you could take the hit for another year. So what if this was a Randall sign-and-trade situation? Randall and Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard? Is that a fun team? And then Randall, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum. When Jason Tatum gets back. I don't know. Because, again, maybe Randall's market is going to... Like, as much as you think Randall... Because, again, you go, okay, his market's going to be $35 million a year. What team is going to... Is he New Orleans? He's going to go play for New Orleans. $35 million a year. I mean, yeah, he's probably going to take the money. But maybe he does want to win a title. Like, you just never know. So, at least for one more risk a long term. Like, he is now in the 30s, so you start wanting to be like, okay, I'll get these contracts locked in as much as possible. Hauser could be a fun Timberwolf. They don't really have a spacer like Hauser. They don't have a space. I guess he is a good defender, chat. But they don't have a floor spacer that doesn't play defense. I guess Porzingis, like we were saying, would be the only other option besides Jaylen Brown if they want to get really crazy. Randall for Jaylen Brown. McDaniels for Jaylen Brown? You'd have to get another $25 million in the trade. So that would be Randall as a sign and trade as well, too. Is that too much for Jaylen Brown? Randall and a sign and trade in the McDaniels. Then you go Jaylen Brown and Edwards going forward. It definitely continues to zoom up the timeline. But you still just want to see it. So there we go, chat. It goes final. 30 points exactly. Hey, yo, chat. 30 points exactly. Okay, so this is when we tuned out. 5 minutes and 36 seconds left in the third quarter at 78-50. I think that's a respectable time to tune out of the box score, chat. But OKC, Western Conference champions. The first, I guess, first finals advancement of the year this year, of the two teams, of the two conferences. We know we've got the Thunder. Edwards, do I want to see a couple of, maybe a little bit more of a scowl? I guess they didn't did they already fire the confetti cannons? No confetti, chat. The Thunder, all business. There's some streamers, a couple. I guess, again, not losing a finals, but maybe, Anthony Edwards, do we want a Stephon Diggs moment of him saying, hey, I want to be here one day. I want to be on the podium accepting my Western Conference Finals trophy at some point. And my, who's he got, chat? Magic Johnson, of course. The Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP. So shout out to OKC. Home court throughout the finals. The finals goes through Oklahoma City, chat. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Alex Caruso are the gatekeepers of the NBA final. The favorites for the interim, I guess the Thunder are kind of the interim belt right now. If the finals winner gets the actual belt, maybe the Thunder, as again with all of the repeat potential guys being eliminated, maybe the Thunder is just the best record team get the interim belt. So if they do have it right now, I mean, again, they're favored to go ahead and unify that with the main belt. But in the Western Conference Finals, most likely, like we're saying, of course, against the Pacers. But maybe you could talk yourself into okay, Conley is going to be more like what we want for Holiday to be this year. I not necessarily want to, but minutes-wise, you're like, okay, we got a veteran point guard that we can. I guess Holiday's going to be a much better defender, and still, I think, a kind of a lethal driver maybe as well. Maybe there's some one-on-one stuff that he could still do from a drive. Naz Reid for Holiday, chat. We're pro Holiday. I guess Randall, it's a little bit of an odd fit, but I still maybe there's a way to make it work, chat. Maybe it's not too far off. And I guess if he's just accepting the player option, just going to Boston, does that help his odds of getting a better contract or not? I don't know. So that would work. That is interesting. Holiday for Randall. Again, if you're going to lose Randall anyway, send Randall to a contender. Would Boston want to pay Randall 3 for? Would they just want to give Randall Drew Holiday's contract? Would be the other issue of it, because you have him for 3 years now. So if he's, I guess it would be like kind of, well, however you want to say it, declining the player option this year and then giving him 2 more years on top of it, where he's going up to 35-ish million this year, then 35 the next 2 years as well. But almost similar to what you would have on Holiday as well. So you wouldn't necessarily, it'd be, of course, a little bit younger and a different type of player, and resetting your cap in that way. So resetting the age is a way to reset the cap, I think. There's a way to maybe at least reset the value of what your cap number looks like. So Porzingis at $30 million. I mean, Porzingis could be an interesting Timberwolf as well, too. There's a health thing, of course, with Porzingis that could be a little bit scary. And Naz Reid is a little bit of like a cheaper Porzingis in a way, like similar stretch bigs with offensive size. Porzingis, of course, maybe has hit some more highs in the total. Like, is he capable of more moves and stuff than Naz Reid? Maybe. But, both, of course, equally as lethal floor spacers. So I don't know if there's a reason to try to make that kind of move there. But maybe Randall, it's more Randall for Porzingis switch out. So again, maybe this trade is Randall for Holiday, but you're thinking stylistically and who does he take the mantle from? So let's just make that as a trade, chat. Let's actually just go back and do that. Randall for Porzingis. Would you take the 1-year gamble on Porzingis and then whatever Boston wants to do with the sign and trade with Randall? So I guess Boston being a 7th apron team, they might have to be pretty. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty feisty one. And I don't think the league is going to look the other way on 2nd apron teams, unfortunately. So if they did sign and trade Randall, he would actually still be making more than. So I guess they wouldn't be able to sign and trade him. They would have to give him the extension maybe the next year's out, and not on the year that the trade is being conducted. So there may be some logistic stuff there to figure out, or just as average out $35 million, but the trade this year is a little bit lower, and then the next couple of years is a little bit higher to make up for it. I don't know, Chad, but Randall to Boston is not bad. That's a fun. I don't know if him and Brown is a brilliant combination next year, but I think they could be kind of similar to Minnesota this year, anyways, as a feisty playoff team. So you go, is that what you want Boston to be? But remember, Tatum's out all year, so or not, Chad. Stay tuned. We may have a remedy for Tatum. What is that? That's right, Chad. We may have a remedy for Tatum. Actually, you know what? Let's take a quick break, and then we'll continue to poke around in the trade machine here, and then I guess I did say it, but yeah, coming up next, chat, we got a remedy for Jason Tatum on the Achilles injuries. Just stay tuned. You'll have to see what it is. Coming up next. Okay, chat, I'm not going to lie. This is a little bit much. It's a little bit much for the trophy celebration for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's a great accomplishment than making the making the finals. And, again, just them assembling this team is awesome. But they've only made the finals. Do they think they've won the finals? This is great. I mean, they're literally thanking the owner, chat. They're like, the owner had a vision 2 decades ago. It was a vision. He had a vision of tax breaks on arenas, I think. A vision of moving the team. But, it's connecting the team. I mean, I'm sure it's great, done great things for Oklahoma City. We're not trying to minimize the impact of the team on the area. Like we said, the fan base is amazing. But, again, doesn't mean they didn't rip the hearts out of the Seattle fans. And, again, they still haven't actually won the finals yet. So, awesome, I guess, as a step forward. But also, I think, isn't Oklahoma the one city that maybe would be a little... I guess that's probably why they're awesome fans, too, as well, Chad. Because I'm just thinking you'd be traumatized after Durant leaves and you had this Westbrook-Durant-Harden combination and they traded Harden. And like we're saying, Durant leaves, Westbrook is there by himself. But it's like, okay, the one guy that stays is probably not going to be able to take this team to the title by himself, of course. Which, who can? But, probably not. And not disrespectfully, but it's like, Westbrook's probably not going to be the guy to be able to do that. And you have this young core now that's like, okay, yeah, we're in the finals, but we've seen this before. And I guess maybe the difference, like we're saying, is, and I guess LeBron hadn't actually won the finals at that point. His first finals win, of course, was against that OKC team, so maybe that's a part of it. He needed the youth of OKC to actually get over the last step. But maybe they don't have that LeBron-esque opponent. LeBron had been in the league for that time. He's still a haunting figure, of course, and a more established guy at that point than anybody in the league right now. I would say. I mean, not even I would say. I think the resume would bear that out. But regardless, hey, there's still a finals to go here, chat. We still got time for there to not be something happened at the end of the season, and maybe like we're saying, the Pacers are going to be an interesting matchup. But I guess we did randomly click on Phoenix for Timberwolves trade machine. I don't know if there's a move for Phoenix. Phoenix can't aggregate guys, so it'd be a 1-for-1. Are they going to take Beal? Do they have a 1-for-1 for Booker, Durant? Edwards 1-for-1 for one of those guys? Probably not. Edwards for Booker? Speaking of the jersey sales, I don't know. Edwards and Booker. I guess the question would be, could you get, Edwards in a contract for Durant and Booker, chat? Whoa. That'd be $100 million back in the contract. It might be a little bit too much. See, this is the Rem and Sam trade machine is the best, chat, because I mean this is elite right here. Durant and Booker for Edwards and what? Edwards and Randall's not even gonna be enough. Gobert, finally a use for Gobert, chat. Hey yo, throw Gobert in. $107 million to 8. I guess Phoenix can't aggregate guys in the trade. Ishbia, you screwed yourself. You can't even trade both your guys together. Hey, yo, chat. So, yeah, this is impossible. Phoenix, unfortunately, probably can't do business with... I guess maybe we're looking at the large-scale trades here, chat. We need to look at the smaller-scale trades. Maybe there's a couple role players that they could swap in the 1-for-1. Some 10... Royce O'Neal for Dante DiVincenzo. Probably not. Grayson Allen at $16 million a year is an interesting player, but that's the Naz Reid contract, maybe... probably not again. And then, yeah, you just got Conley, Jaden McDaniels. I guess they will be an interesting team, once the cap holds clear, what that final number looks like. I guess once they settle the cap holds and the player options and all that stuff. Because they might still push into the second apron, only 12.8 in the second apron space, but they may, for tax purposes, just try to scrape just underneath it. But they'll be, either way, really close. I guess repeater tax stuff as well, too, they could try to avoid. So, there's not going to be a ton more that they add into here, of course. But, yeah, Phoenix probably shouldn't waste time looking at a move on Phoenix. Do we bounce back and forth? East-West, East-West? Hey, yo. Chicago? I don't know why that stands out, chat, but Chicago, they could be a team with moves. Kevin Huerter to the Timberwolves. Kevin Huerter to save the day. The Red Rocket chat. Hey, yo, Kobe White. Lonzo to the Timberwolves. I don't know why the Ball brothers are the ones that are going to be the ones that are going to be traded to Minnesota, chat. But that's apparently who's on the market right now. Lonzo, LaMelo. LiAngelo sign him as a halftime performer, official halftime performer of the Timberwolves. Ooh, that's good. 80, I guess not 82, 41 games of Tweaker at halftime, chat. But what's that other track Jello dropped? So you've got 20 and a half games of Tweaker, and then halfway through the 21st game, he transitions into the second song. So then you got half a game for both of those songs, and then the next 20 home games, he does the other single that he has. Or maybe he drops maybe that's the challenge, chat. You sign LaMelo Ball as the halftime or pregame performer, but one new track a week. I mean, you gotta have. I'm not realistic standards, but also just one a week. I don't know. If you maybe also. I mean, I'm sure there's some production help that he already has, but if you help him with the production help and write a track a week, chat. I'm not saying he has to win a Grammy a week. I'm just saying he's gonna give us a new track at pregame every week. Matas, probably not going to get Desumu, though, could be interesting. 7.5, chat. Desumu for DiVincenzo? Like, I guess Desumu is a hometown Chicago kid, so I don't know if the Bulls are going to be like, do we need to marginally upgrade? I guess, not be disrespectful. Both great role players. They're like, what is the upgrade value do they need to get to trade Desumu? I don't know how valuable he is to that team as just sort of a emotional attachment to that group. Shout out to Tim Legler, chat, on the analysis, but he just got really loud for some reason, so we're gonna have to turn it back down. Or honestly, shout out, but I flipped Chappelle's show onto the other TV because it's that time of the night. Sports are done, chat. Time to move on to Chappelle's show. So, hey, there you go. I don't know if you guys just heard it. Chappelle's show is now on. What season is this, chat? I think we're in season 2. Oh, I guess it doesn't say. Maybe season 1. Maybe if we go more info. Let's see here. It had the old guy that does the frontline bits for him. But, I think he's a little bit of a reoccurring guest. I guess it's not going to say, chat. We're going to, how far down are we going to hunt these details? So, yeah, maybe we actually cook up a trade here, chat. Vooch, 21.4. Vooch is a little Randall-esque in terms of maybe the spots on the floor that he does get some shots from potentially. So you could think the dynamic, it wouldn't be too much of a change between him and Randall, but there is, again, maybe same spots, but some different, similar, not too far different, but Vooch is Randall maybe a little more physical, Vooch a little bit more finesse, a little bit better, obviously maybe touch and jump shooter as well, but Randall's obviously going to have a little more playmaking upside, but Vooch maybe around the rim, some of the rebounding stuff as well too, but I guess Randall's had great rebounding numbers as well too at the peak of his stars. Maybe that is a thing, now that I think about it as well too, that was lost in New York. It was like, wasn't Randall leading the league in rebounds there for like a half a season stretch? It was like double-digit rebounds every time. So maybe, again, a little bit more spaced on this Timberwolves team in a weird way, but the rebounding thing wasn't there. As was, I'm just looking at this number as well too from this season at 7.3. We could go, I don't imagine it was like crazy higher in the playoffs, and if it was, ultimately, obviously, not like it mattered, but I guess Pat Williams 4 for 18 is an interesting contract as well too. So the Conley expiring, I guess they got a bunch of expirings between Herter, Zach Collins, and Vooch, so their books are going to be a little light. And Desumu and Carter is a player option this year, I guess, and then would be expiring. Terry, same thing. So their books will be a little light next year anyway, so it's not like they would need to even clear Pat Williams to have cap space. And they already have cap space, a ton of cap space anyways, Chad. So the Bulls could just start taking contracts. So is there a weird, could they take the Gobert contract? They'd have to get some good assets. Like, would they have to get the 17 for Gobert? But could the 31, could you talk them into the 31 essentially being a first-round pick? And then 31 and Gobert for, Zach Collins is not going to give you back those minutes. But Vooch, and I think the problem is you could probably get, you're going to get a first-round pick for Vooch in next year's draft, maybe? I don't know. That'd be interesting, chat. I think that, here, let's go contracts-wise, because I guess, again, the Bulls are going to be able to definitely take this. So this is, So this is not too much of a contract upgrade. It definitely is, 13, and I guess you're stretching it out over a couple of years as well, too. Failed! Oh, shout out the Bulls, chat. Cut $6 million. Okay, so Gobert, even too much for the Bulls. Hey, yo. It is what it is. Vooch, and I guess you're probably not going to start packaging other things with Vooch. It would have to be the 17th pick. So Chicago has 12 and 45. You're not trading, 17 and 12 probably. So Vooch, it would have to be, I guess Gobert and DiVincenzo and Vooch and Pat Williams or something along those lines. I don't know if Chicago is going to be saying adding the extra money, though, when it looks like they could be potentially in for a, pick your, a choose your path type of franchise offseason, which is clearing the books and maybe even getting a higher lottery pick sometime as well, too. Hawks are always going to be an interesting trade machine team this offseason. Of course, I don't know if there's going to be... Our guy, Veet, I think our guy, Veet, is going to be first team all trade machine, chat. Shout out, Veet. He's going to be thrown into a lot of these trades to make the contracts work. First team all make the contracts work. Oh, chat. I just got too excited. Tyrone Pickens is on screen. Shout out. I should know. So is this end of season? When's the first Biggins appearance? I'm trying to remember. I don't necessarily know the order of the episodes. It's more of a, the problem is this is I was going to say this is like Key and Peele. Hey, yo, Chappelle, don't get mad at me. Obviously, Chappelle show came first. We know the history, the legacy, chat. We would still, I think, if we did the sketch show rankings, I think Chappelle show, he'd be in favor again. He'd like our rankings. But in terms of, obviously, how we consume the shows, and I think Chappelle shows a little more, we just throw that on in terms of the episodes, but obviously, all-time YouTube shows as well, too. So you're watching the sketches out of order, you're watching, are we just rewatching the same 6 sketches over and over again? But, obviously you're just kind of watching whatever's in the algorithm, whatever you're picking, whatever you're choosing, instead of just starting in season 1, episode 1, and just watching all the way through. Which, again, I would do more with Chappelle show than I say with Key and Peele. Key and Peele, definitely, all-time YouTube show. And honestly, watching it more on the Pluto TV now is the most of the episodes I've been watching. And I feel bad that I haven't been watching the episodes before, obviously, because I feel like it's like half of the stuff in the episodes I haven't seen before. And a lot of maybe some of the shorter, just even like almost like the interlude type sketches that they had that I don't even feel like, have they made their way in the digital world the same type of way? It's like, I haven't seen this 30-second short before from Key and Peele. Like, what's this? Like, so much new Key and Peele being uncovered on Pluto TV, chat is excellent. Can Reese Shea get on the Timberwolves? I don't know. DiVincenzo for Reese Shea. Probably not quite enough. Dyson Daniels is pretty valuable at this point. Jalen Johnson. Is Trae Young a savior for the Timberwolves, chat? Do they need Trae Young's irrational confidence to... Maybe Anthony Edwards needs it... Because, Karl Anthony Towns was a guy that... It was always, of course, not even the basketball stuff. There was always the, the greater questions of, the leadership abilities of down, blah, blah, blah. Like, can he lead a team, And having Edwards as another leader in there was definitely helpful for the roster. But maybe he needs his own teammate as well, too, to kind of compete against in that way. Because, like, we're seeing Towns, again, he made the Eastern Conference Finals this year with the Knicks. The series itself hasn't panned out that great for the Knicks. But I think Towns, I guess, has been has had quarters where he's been the bright. I mean, he won them that one game, literally. So, as great as Brunson has been, Towns won them the game that they won in the playoff series. So, we could get into the debates. Is Towns good enough to win you 4 games in the Eastern Conference Finals and then in the finals carry blah, blah, blah. I think maybe Brunson is a guy that we would bet that could maybe accomplish that a little bit more likely than Towns. But again, Towns is the one in the Eastern Conference Finals, or in the Conference Finals more often anyways, and has had more good Conference Finals games technically than Jalen Brunson, I guess. But I guess we'd have to go back and look. I guess technically, how many good games did he have against I guess we're thinking more of a series against the Nuggets. So I guess how many good games did he have against the Mavs? That might have been a tough series for Towns, actually, if we're getting that lined up. But maybe he needs a guy. Either way, I guess maybe he needs a guy like Trae Young internally to kind of whoa. Maybe he needs a guy Trae Young on his own team to kind of challenge him. Again, from a teammate aspect, not just like the guys that he's competing against on the court. Can he rise to the occasion against Shea? Because apparently that's not going to happen yet. Whoa! Wait a second, chat. we're not trading Anthony Edwards to the Hawks. Only the Timberwolves would make that type of move. They're like, wait, we didn't mean to trade our star player to the Hawks. What just happened? The Hawks are like, wait, now we got Anthony Edwards? This is great. And they didn't, they're 13th and 22 in the draft this year. Interesting. Atlanta's got some picks as well. So, I mean, Anthony Edwards for a trade might actually be the most, contract-wise, the easiest one to make that work. So this could be, is this an interesting McDaniels trade? And maybe the Timberwolves fans are like, hey now, what's going on? And that's only half. So, is that also Randall, like we're saying, in that sign and trade deal? It starts becoming a little much for Trae Young, in my opinion. Maybe not even, what's trade? It's just the amount of, Minnesota's a shallow team. Like, is bringing in a star player going to help if you're trading all your depth, not even just Trae Young necessarily. The Clippers, Chet, Norm Powell? Is there any way they can get Norm Powell? Please, what do you want for Norm Powell? 17 for Norm Powell? It's not bad. You have to re-sign him. He's 31. Who knows? I feel like Norm Powell's a good business name. I feel like you could have a favorable contract both ways for the team and for Norm Powell. Norm Powell might be first-team all-trade machine. Again, I don't know how gettable he is. That's a pretty good number next year for a guy that can give you 24 a game, maybe. The thing is, I guess, is Norm Powell going to be 24 a game next year? I think we're very pro-Norm Powell. Yeah, pro-Norm Powell pod chat. But maybe, again, not even, he still could be a very impactful player, but is 18 a game more reasonable for Norm Powell than 24 a game every night, Very likely that he's still, like I'm saying, an awesome, impactful scorer, but maybe even for the team, that's kind of what you want as well, too. Obviously, guys like Edwards or something leading the way, and then Norm Powell as a complementary figure. Because, with the injuries as well, too, it's also his role was more important in various nights as well. It's not just, Norm Powell, obviously he was in a heat check season, but again, he has more opportunity combined with that with some of the injuries night to night as well, too. So, on a team like Minnesota, maybe it'd be more proper. It'd be a good balance of, like we're saying, this version of him, the better scorer, and kind of going back to him being on a more role player version of a finals team. I guess, again, that kind of should be what this Clippers team is, but, unfortunately, with the core that they've had, they just haven't been able to put together a playoff run. Maybe Bogdanovich, though. Bogdanovich is $16 million. Again, DiVincenzo is just a nice role player. $11 million is a great contract as well, too, as much as you want to go, is he a lock to be always a top 5 rotation guy? I mean, he's pretty close. And again, $12 million, I don't think you're going to get a better $12 million a year player, Chad, to be honest. Maybe outside of a rookie or something like that. Yeah, you got Derrick Jones Jr. at $10 million a year. Like, Derrick Jones Jr. is definitely defensive and stuff that he can provide as a rotation guy. Maybe, again, their ability to be in the final 5 is still kind of the same at the end of the day, but depending on the lineup. But I think DiVincenzo's floor spacing ability, of course, is super important and a reason why, again, I think that contract is pretty valuable. But Bogdanovich is a pretty good scorer as well, too. You could get to $20 million with Conley and DiVincenzo. See, that's interesting for Norm Powell then, actually. This is a tough trade, chat. Trading 2 guys that are on the Rem and Sam. I guess first team Rem and Sam is not just 5 spots. If that's not clear right now, over the course of the pod, because I think in the history of the pod we've named like 75 guys that are on first team all. So I don't know if it's 75 is the list, but it's definitely more than 5 spots on first. And first team all Rem and Sam is a very vague list as well too. But DiVincenzo and I guess DiVincenzo first team all, had a flamethrower performance against a Rem and Sam team with the way he took down Michigan in the basketball. We don't even remember the game, chat. We just block it out from memory. In the national championship game for college basketball that one year. Whichever year. Who knows, chat. But DiVincenzo, terrible performance for Michigan fans, of course. But this is pretty close. This is pretty close contract-wise. And you're not getting any future assets for Norm Powell. Again, maybe you could get a first-round pick for him as well, too. But DiVincenzo is, again, a little bit of a younger role player, a guy that kind of no matter what your team is going for in the future, whatever kind of stars or young players you're going to put around there, DiVincenzo can be a role player guy next to him or be a veteran player that's like oh, I got you in certain moments if you need, or yeah, you're elevating, you need the ball more, you need more shots, I need to be taking threes on the side. Like, yeah, I got you that way as well too. Like, he can kind of go both ways. Again, is he going to Norm Powell 24 points a game it for you randomly? Maybe he is a random candidate for that, but he could, for a couple of possessions, take the role of, lead guy and just be a good veteran performer there. Actually, Minnesota would be worse in that trade. I guess still values Conley. Conley is positive on the LeBron metric, chat. I'd have to go back and remember exactly what that stat means. But one of those stats, kind of like Raptor, back when Raptor used to be a stat. And then whatever happened to that site, I don't remember, like ABC bought it and became a political site, chat, or something. They started doing election polls. Like, maybe a little bit more important for the scope of America. But what happened to our advanced stats for the NBA? I want to know which player is the best in plus-minus Raptor, chat. Is it still Jokic or Shea? It'd be a good season for it. What's Shea's Raptor? Hey, yo. Well, pause. But this might be the best trade, honestly, we've cooked up so far. DiVincenzo for Norm Powell. I feel like the Clippers fans may be the most kind of attached to Norm Powell. But again, the scoring upside of Norm Powell, DiVincenzo a little bit more of a two-way player, can kind of fit with that Minnesota two-way identity, but it would be a good lookup. And, DiVincenzo at 28, yeah, kind of fits in the timeline, but Norm Powell is not like so far off that you're like, okay, well now we've sacrificed the future of the team. I guess maybe more DiVincenzo, a little more in his prime, where it's like, yeah, that's the same thing. You're not sacrificing the future of the team to bring in that extra scoring if need be. So I like this one as well, too. I do like the LaMelo Ball just for the chaos of it, and especially, again, with Wemby. Like, this was the year for us to be positive in thinking about Anthony Edwards and his run to the title, but again, with whatever the Spurs do, if they're aggressive in the offseason and pursuing stars for right now, or if we get Dylan Harper, it's like, next season, we're not the Thunder competing for the title. But it's like, okay, we need to see playoffs, feistiness. We need to be in some sort of mix next year. We need to be winning games, and obviously the turnaround needs to start happening. But Norm Powell to the Timberwolves, chat. Clippers mixing it up. Maybe they get one of those. Maybe they get that 31 in here. I don't know what the Clippers have for picks. They have 30 and 51, so swapping one wouldn't necessarily make sense. But 17 and 30, I don't even know if you need to do that, though. I think the players are honestly kind of even for this. So that's a Western Conference trade, chat. Is there another Eastern Conference trade? We know the Cavs can't aggregate. We mentioned the Knicks, the Pacers, the Bucks, Pistons, Magic. Of course, the Magic are another trade, trade all-star trade team for this season. Jalen Suggs, chat. KCP. Is the KCP the recipe, chat? I don't know. Jonathan Isaac could be definitely an interesting addition. We mentioned Cole Anthony. I don't know. He could be on that move. Wendell Carter could be a fun center as well too. I don't know. Is Randall a sign and trade? Probably. I mean, I guess he does fit into the Magic because he can't shoot threes. But is he? Hey, yo, we got him, chat. There's our Magic can't shoot threes joke for the day. But I was the over/under set at 1/2. So hopefully you guys had the over. But, yeah, so Randall would definitely, not necessarily give him more spacing in that way. But maybe this is a McDaniels team, chat. Okay, this could be a McDaniels team. Let's see here. Suggs for McDaniels. Suggs is probably too valuable. Caldwell Pope probably makes up too much of the money on the contract. And Franz, probably not going to do Franz for McDaniels. Ultimately, what is that deal? I honestly think would Minnesota do that? I think they might, chat. Franz does make quite a bit more than McDaniels, so I mean he's compensated for that might. But I think his offensive creation, obviously, and again, McDaniels has shown some pretty elite defense, and the 3-point shooting has definitely had some pretty good highs, pretty good hot streaks as well too. But maybe even more. McDaniels might probably be a more consistent 3-point shooter than Franz Wagner. I mean the numbers probably say that, but. There is an offensive creation thing with Franz that I think you probably would go for. Again, that he's being compensated for as well, too, as of right now. But Bitsida is kind of a nice piece. He might be if you could sneaky get Bitsida on a trade, I don't know. He could be a good rotation guy. Maybe we're watching the wrong minutes, chat. The Raptors, Scotty Barnes to the Timberwolves quickly. Brandon Ingram just got there, so I don't know. They're trading Brandon Ingram already, chat. That's what he was trade bait at $38 million a year. RJ Barrett, though, 24. RJ Barrett? Is RJ Barrett now? I guess we could. Maybe that's a summer segment, chat. That's not a pod. That's more of a segment. Did you know this guy is still whatever? Did you know RJ Barrett's still 24? The Jason Tatum All-Stars, chat? Who is still just randomly like 3 years younger than you think? Hey, yo, chat. But, NBA-wise, RJ Barrett, 24 years old. I guess Pirtle at 29 feels about right. But Ingram at 27, he's starting to get in there as well, too. I think by the time Ingram gets to, I was going to say 28, that's maybe this year. By the time Ingram gets to like 29, but then 30, you go Brandon Ingram's 30. I don't know. He might be a little Dak Prescott-y, where it's like you don't think about it, but when you're like, oh, yeah, he is 30. Yeah, it makes sense. Like Dak Prescott, you're like, wait, he's 30? Dak Prescott like 32? But you're like, oh, yeah, he does seem like he's got the at least, the poise of a veteran, kind of like that. So it's positive, at least in some ways. But I don't know if everybody would view it like that. Abaji would be an interesting piece. Grady Dick, chat. Hey, yo. Jacoby Walter. Colin Castleton is on the Raptors. Oh, chat. That explains so much. That's why they're struggling. Oh, shout out to Colin Castleton, chat. Hey, yo. But just a drive-by criticism of Colin Castleton. Great up-and-coming player, chat. A lot of Colin Castleton stock. Hey, yo, get him in a trade. But I don't know if there's a piece on the Raptors that you go. Again, maybe if you get one of the younger guys or one of the guys in the rookie contracts. But I don't know if there's a other building block piece that you'd want. So we mentioned Cam Thomas from the Nets. The Sixers, Paul George. You take a swing on Paul George. Maxi Oubre, $8 million a year player option. Maybe he opts out. And I guess the difference now is more like, the teams don't have the cap space to just randomly throw $12 million at a player as much as they used to, obviously. So it'd be more the exceptions, and then otherwise you're taking them, whatever I guess you can get. So maybe it's just like the $8 million instead of the 12 in cap space, or the minimum contract, essentially. So there's definitely fewer of those lower mid-tier contracts, I think, to go around. So maybe players just start opting into stuff that maybe they wouldn't have in the past. The Wizards, Chris Middleton? Chris Middleton could be an interesting, 33 on the player option 1 year. You're not taking a big risk, a little bit older, not necessarily the same guy. 12 a game is rough, chat. I don't know, but $34 million a year. Gobert for Middleton? I don't know. You get out of the money anyways long term. I don't know. The Wizards, you think him next to Sarr? And then I guess they're not going to have Cooper Fletcher. Where did the Wizards fall? They fell a little bit in the lottery, right? What are they? They're not number 2. Yeah, they're number 6. So they're going to be out of the, obviously, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, Edgecombe. Those are definitely going to be the top 4, right? I guess we'll do a little film study and see what's going on. But they'll be in the range to take Con Knuppel. They got Trey Johnson in the mock. So Malik, the center, as well, too, if they want to go front court big man there as well. But, you got Fears and Johnson, 5 and 6, will be in that argument, and Knuppel, like we're saying, and our guy Kasparis from Illinois. So you're going to have a bunch of backcourt players in the mix there. Maybe you take a swing on a veteran center like Gobert and have him next to Sarr as well. The French Connection, chat? Hey, yo. Maybe you have a Gene Hackman memorial in the locker room as well, too, for good vibes. You do have Smart's contract at $20 million, so I guess Middleton's pretty close in money, chat. Middleton for Gobert, I feel like Timberwolves fans would do it. -5 wins, chat. Yeah, I guess we're not properly evaluating the talent involved in the trade, maybe. But I don't know. Again, maybe just the long-term money of it could be really interesting. I don't know if there's a pick that has to go back either way as well, too. Poole at $31 million. So we mentioned Smart at 21.5 as well, too, chat. Kispert at 14 is an interesting player. Kispert for DiVincenzo, that's an interesting swing. Kispert at 26, definitely a little bit more offense. DiVincenzo definitely a little bit more two-way, maybe a little bit more on-ball creation than Kispert as well, but maybe just a little bit. And then Kispert, I think maybe in the final 5 minutes, his off-ball creation might be more interesting next to or just his off-ball shooting might be more interesting next to Edwards than DiVincenzo's. Though DiVincenzo obviously can be, I think, hopefully pretty good in the catch and shoot stuff. Rashawn Holmes on the 1-year deal, 31 years old. I don't know if we still have our stock, chat. Sadiq Bey, I think we definitely still have our stock. $6 million a year. I don't know what the rest of the trade is, but let's just start with Sadiq. Sadiq Bey is the centerpiece of the trade. Okay, chat. Timberwolves fans are thrilled right now. AJ Johnson is also another young prospect that we like, but I think maybe the Wizards would want to keep him around. I guess we're not building out of this Middleton Gobert trade anymore, chat. So just a Sadiq Bey centered trade. Oh, this could get weird. Randall's going to be the sign and trade piece. I guess if McDaniels is on the board, then we could really go in any direction. So if we're going like, you know, this could be a real swing for the Wizards where it's like McDaniel for Kispert and Sadiq Bey. That's 20 out of 24 million. So just to match, you know, then you go Champagnie. Champagnie is a nice player as well too, though. I think his floor spacing seemed pretty interesting. Like Colby Jones is $2 million, so I think he definitely fits in this trade. Is the difference between Colby Jones and Champagnie too much, Chad? I don't know. Maybe we just look at what the value is in the contract and not overthink it. 3 for 1, though, for McDaniels is kind of crazy. I don't know if Minnesota's roster can have enough spots to take 3 for 1. Let's see. Oh, yeah, they would be fine. So Washington, of course, after trading 3 guys, would. But I guess with their draft picks, do they just have the 1 draft pick? I feel like they might have a second one in here, Chad. Oh, yeah, so 6, 18, and 40. So 6 and 18. They're going to need to clear some spots. So that's perfect. You bring in McDaniels, and you have spots for 6 and 18. So Kispert, Sadiq Bey, and Champagnie for McDaniels. This is not bad. A 3 for 1, again, a little bit much. I don't know who else is on the move, but I guess, you know, who else you're bringing in as well, too. You know, in free agency. Getting these guys via trade might be the only way to actually bring in their contracts under the books. So, and 2 years, 4 years, 3 years, you know, you do have a little bit of commitment to some of these guys, but again, you know, small deals. I don't know if Kispert's deal gets a little bit hefty after a couple years. And not even really, chat. $13 million a year for at least a decent 3-point. Again, maybe his role is different than McDaniels individually. So the problem is, I don't know, maybe Champagnie is actually the second best guy in this. D guy, though, next to Edwards, as just another rotation, as much as we love McDaniels, like, I don't know, it's an interesting swing. Kispert, I guess you'd really have to have stock in Kispert as a 3-point spacer as well, too. Like, he's really going to hit some. That's interesting. Obviously, it's not. Speaking of Wizards, former Wizards wings, Advia is always a guy. Ooh, Simons on the expiring contract, but I guess he's, you know, one of those Jason Tatum All-Stars. He's 25, but him for McDaniels is interesting. That is interesting. Ooh, chat, this might be do we need to call Sam now? Hey, yo, chat. Oh, the trade machine not being nice. $2.8 million. The Timberwolves are a little bit over. So McDaniels apparently not enough for Simons on the trade machine. So get back out here, Leonard Miller, chat, or Jalen Clark. Jalen Clark actually might be a Blazer-Z type player, though. Does it have to be a 2 for 2? Kamara? Dupe Reith? Who's probably Dwap Reith, chat? 1 year, $2.2 million? Okay, we don't even know who this is, but 6'11 center. This might be a steal in this trade as well, too. So some center depth and Anthony Simons for Jaden McDaniels and Jalen Clark. Okay, let's see if the numbers ended up working out there. By throwing, oh no, okay, that didn't make it any better. 628,000. Okay, we're getting closer, chat. We're getting closer. So what if we just take Roop out of it? Jalen Clark and Jaden McDaniels for Anthony Simons. Oh, chat. There it goes. The trade machine works. 3 more wins for the Blazers. You know, McDaniel's two-way ability is pretty elite. I guess Simons on defense, not going to add to his advanced stats, but his scoring next to Edwards, that is interesting, chat. There is something there. Maybe the Blazers are giving a pick back. They only have 11, so probably not protecting a future first in this deal. Whew, chat. The contracts are going to be tricky. Klingon, Chris Murray. Chris Murray is a nice piece. I don't know if they'd want to start trading him. Dillingham. So I don't know. Maybe Shannon goes back in the deal. A little 3-for-2. Shannon and Jalen Clark, a couple of young guys, and then you get, I don't know, you get Thibault might be too much at that point. But that's, I don't know, that's honestly pretty close, though. I guess I like Jalen Clark's defense, but if you really are buying in on Simon stock anyways, I guess I don't know if Jalen Clark's going to be the ultimate factor. So that might be trade number 2. And I guess Simon's just younger Norm Powell, chat. Hey, yo, whoa. That could be a role for Simons. I kind of like that comp, honestly. So who knows? Ooh, I guess we can't get Simon on the Spurs. The point of this is not to get Simons on the Spurs, but 3-teamer, cook up a 3-teamer and get Simons on the Spurs. Sacramento, Zach LaVine to the Timberwolves if it wasn't so expensive. Sabonis, sign and trade Sabonis for Randall. Sacramento gets cheaper Sabonis. DeRozan at $24 million. I don't know if he's gonna swing a playoff series for the finals the way he went. Keegan Murray team option. Malik Monk, not Keegan Murray. I don't know if the Kings would trade him. Obviously, if you could trade Keegan Murray, get Keegan Murray. But he actually might be number 1 just piece on the Kings at this point. So I don't know why the Kings would do that move unless, you're getting a really good piece back. Again, putting McDaniels on the table, chat. We have to put McDaniels on the table, I guess. But I don't know if they have the balance of contract and young talent. I guess if you're mixing DeRozan with somebody, but they kind of have a lot of space for DeRozan and for a top-heavy contract team. And I guess Murray once you get Murray's team option picked up there, is it already locked in? It might already be locked in. Yeah, it's, I think, accepted already in the number. Let's see if it changed at all. Yeah, it didn't change. So yeah, it's assuming that they accept the Murray team option, of course. And then Valanciunas at $10 million as well too. Murray and Valanciunas for McDaniels. That's also not bad, Chad. That's not. I think obviously Valanciunas is a little bit of an add-on to this piece, but McDaniels for Chris Murray, I don't think is too uneven of a deal. Honestly, they're both similar ages, which is interesting if you're thinking the upside going forward. I mean, McDaniels' contract being the way it is. Again, I think just if you're thinking if they kind of stay similar, I think Keegan Murray's contract alone, becomes an interesting argument. And that is a successful trade. +1 win for the Timberwolves, according to Fanspo. Maybe Valanciunas is a guy that you might be able to weirdly use as well, too, in some lineups. I don't think he'd be totally useless. So, shout out to Valanciunas. But McDaniels for Murray is interesting. I think Sacramento, just seeing McDaniels being paid more, they maybe just think he's a better player and just talk themselves into it that way. And again, it doesn't even really affect their overall cap number that much because, again, with the way that trades have to function now, overall cap stuff is still the same in the moves. So I like this one as well, too. I think I like this. This one feels a little more realistic than Simons, honestly. Just because the defense of Simons, I don't know. I do like Simons scoring. Maybe it is unlocked. So a guy like Edwards, that could be crazy. Simons next to Edwards, could really get unlocked in a fun way. New Orleans, Chad, only a couple more teams to go. New Orleans, Murray, Trey Murphy, McCollum at 30 minutes. Is Zion the play here, Chad? McDaniels for Zion. What is the Zion stock at this point? You need 15 million more in this deal. McDaniels only at 24, Zion at 39 million on the contract. So Naz Reid and McDaniels too much for Zion. DiVincenzo. So maybe Naz Reid and another smaller contract. I guess Naz Reid is just going to get you there. Missy, probably too much trade value. Jose Alvarado. Toss him into the deal, chat. Alvarado and Zion for who did we? Oh, Naz Reid. And again, I guess does he pick up the player? So maybe you can sign and trade Naz Reid in this scenario. What's the scenario, chat? Oh, the Timberwolves -7 wins. Hey, yo. Fanspo, trade machine, not a fan of Zion, I guess. Maybe more of the Alvarado combo. I guess McDaniels and Nas Reed is a lot of minutes. Yeah, well, 6+ minutes, I guess, total, just physically being played. But a lot of pretty good minutes, I guess, compared to, I guess, maybe in the overall game. Minutes per game, but the games played between McDaniels and Nas Reed a little bit different than Zion. But the upside of that is obviously, we know what the swing would be there. Edwards and Zion athletically would be like the two craziest upside athlete guys that we've had, the last 10 years in the draft together would be nuts. Obviously, Zion not the same play. I guess, we're disrespecting John in that conversation as well, too. You have to mention John Morant. He was second pick in the draft, so he's right there in terms of basketball and all the stuff. But, yeah, that's a fun swing. Anyways, Zion's a little, and then the Randall piece, like he's definitely redundant with Randall, Gobert. It's still a kind of an issue. So it's definitely doesn't make you a perfect team. It's not a finals. This is not a move that you're going to win the finals next year, obviously. Shout out to Zion. Maybe it is. If Zion really turns around and starts. I guess there is a chance that you could win the finals, but I wouldn't bet on it. But obviously, the future of that is potentially interesting. And, again, you're just like, okay, we're getting a wing. I guess you're getting a wing and Nas Reed. Like, that's a pretty good haul for Zion, honestly. Is Zion worth McDaniels and Nas Reed at this point? Is kind of scary. I guess, did this all start with getting Markkanen on the Timberwolves? So, Markkanen to the Timberwolves at $43 million. Again, Gobert, I don't know why they would say we need to go a year shorter on the Markkanen contract to take Gobert. But you still have $11 million, so that's DiVincenzo. You could throw Gobert and DiVincenzo for Markkanen, probably not enough. I guess you giving them both picks in this year's draft, 17 and 31. It's a real all-in move. Four guys in your rotation almost, because 17 might be able to make the rotation. I guess that's kind of in the Terrence Shannon range, so he wasn't necessarily in the major minutes guy for him all the way. I don't know if that's Chris Finch or Terrence Shannon, so there may not be we've messed the roster order up so much. Let's reset it here. There may not be the trade on the Jazz that fully works, to be honest. Daniel Gafford to the Timberwolves, if we're just going high-level trade machine guys. We did, of course, back when the Timberwolves had Cat, there was a world where we were like, can they trade Cat for Durant? So, Randall for Durant. I guess if Durant really wants out, they can't aggregate themselves, but again, they could take a couple guys back in a trade. So you take Durant, sign and trade Randall for $35 million a year. Again, you're not necessarily clearing the books long-term, but Durant's an expiring as well, too, so that does make it interesting with the Beal and Booker combo. If you're just like, okay, well, let's commit to another $35 million the next couple years, we have a chance to have a weird freedom on the books. So I guess, again, Nas Reed is a player option, expiring, so you'd want some picks. Would 17 be on the table for this? Julius Randle and 17 and Conley? You're still going to be a little bit short on the contracts. Maybe let's just try it and see how far off we are. Yeah, way failed, chat. We are $13 million. So we're going to need at least DiVincenzo in this trade. And I guess, again, we disrespect Durant like Randall and 17. At least, don't want to disrespect anybody. But, yeah, there's probably a little bit more in this trade anyways. Is this going to be... There's probably too many guys, chat, for Durant. As good as Durant is, again, just... their ability to acquire guys on the roster. So they would still have 31. You go, okay, we really nailed the 31 pick. You can't trade all your guys. I guess Luka Garza opts in, and Matt Ishbia looks at all of Luka Garza's per 36, and he's like, sold. Put him in the Durant deal, please. So Conley, maybe it's DiVincenzo for Conley, and then you're like, okay, Conley, one last ride, please. You're stepping up, buddy. Hopefully it works out. Conley and Durant next to Edwards, chat. Oh, man. Edwards in the retirement home in Minnesota would be nuts. But and just Gobert, just Edwards, and just shout out Durant. I was gonna say wash superstars, but we still want Durant obviously on the Spurs, and we want him on the Spurs. We want him to like us, Chad. We want him to call in. Obviously, as Spurs fans, if hypothetically he was on the Spurs, I'm not gonna call into the pod that said him washed, but I'm just saying that the age matching of Durant Edwards wouldn't make sense. Durant would make sense in the Mavs, chat. Put him in Dallas. And also San Antonio. I guess Durant to Texas. Hey, yo, chat, back home. I guess that's really what it is. Clay to Minnesota? Does Dallas get feisty with some of their moves? Kyrie, of course, dealing with the injury. So I don't know. Is there a way to... Does, Gobert for Kyrie. Dallas gets another center. They think they can get a player that plays actually this year for him for most of the year. I don't know if basketball fit-wise that makes sense, but I don't know if Nico Harrison's going to care about basketball. He does think defense wins champions, chat. So let's, Gobert. If you want defense, chat, Gobert is the best defensive player of all time. According to the nerds. It's the basketball nerds chat thing. Gobert's the best defensive player of all time. Get out of here. But, yeah, Gobert for Kyrie anyways to start. And you need one more contract for Kyrie. So, DiVincenzo and Gobert for Kyrie. I guess, again, Kyrie's not going to play in this year. So, that's just an automatic tanking move. If you want Anthony Edwards to request a trade, I guess, now all of a sudden, you're pulling the Nico Harrison type move. I guess not necessarily trading Anthony Edwards. So, what is the crazy Anthony Edwards move? I guess Edwards for Durant. Is that the move, chat? That's like the Luka for Davis type move? Maybe, I don't know, Edwards for Giannis? Maybe it is Edwards for Giannis, honestly. Just Giannis is a little bit more a little bit more peak of his powers than Davis, obviously. In the moment that Davis is being traded for Luka. I don't know if there honestly is one. Shout out to Davis. It speaks to Davis's, do we say longevity? Longergevity? Hey, yo. That sounds like more than, LeBron. But yeah, he's been a decade-plus runner as a 7-footer dominantly, and still not a possession where, again, with his size and play style, maybe you don't have the longevity necessarily that you would project out for some guys, Chad. But, yeah, I guess what were we saying? Gobert. Or no, what would be the crazy Edwards for Steph? Maybe it is, Chad. It would be Edwards for Steph. And again, Steph is the guy that you wouldn't think would get traded because obviously of his value to the team. And I guess his contract as well, too. He might not be able to make this work. Let's see what we're looking at here to start. And, we love Steph, so make no mistake, we defend this trade with all our heart. We'd be like, Minnesota, getting in on Steph Curry 15 years too late, chat. It'd be perfect. They could have drafted him with one of their 2 picks back in the day. They passed on him. They could have taken Ricky Rubio. They took Ricky Rubio. They took Johnny Flynn. And then now they have Edwards and they trade him for Steph when Steph's 37. Oh, Chad, it's perfect. Sorry to Minnesota fans that we have to even, make you guys think this. But, getting Steph, the Steph Minnesota jersey, that'd be fun. Imagine, chat. Mike Dunleavy in the press conference is like, yeah, we traded Steph. I mean, Warriors fans would be in shock, but it'd be double shock. It'd be like, wait, we traded Steph? Wait, we got Anthony Edwards? Wait, we traded Steph for Anthony Edwards? I don't even know Warriors fans would be seen for they'd be celebrating and the streets and hiding and processing and, it'd be wild, Chad. Because Davis, I mean, obviously a great player, but not as beloved in LA as, who is beloved the way that Steph is loved in Golden State, obviously, but that'd be nuts, chat. That would be crazy. Obviously, but I guess who would even be the other contract? Because Edwards alone is probably enough to get this deal done. So is Conley enough? That we were at 12 there on the trade machine. Let's see again if we can hack it. Nope. Conley and Edwards is still 3.2 million short. So this might be a little 2 for 3, chat. Steph and Moses Moody for Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo. Oh man, chat. The Timberwolves fans are logging out. Like this is ridiculous. I don't know what's going on. Do we give the Timberwolves fans pods? Make them feel better? This is the max. That's better than getting Max Christie. Do we have more pod stock than we do? Do the Timberwolves fans want Kuminga in a sign-in trade? They're like, okay, Steph and Kuminga for Edwards? Yeah, no, I still don't think we have their attention. Steph and pods is 63 million going back. We're gonna need 20 more million. So a sign and trade Randall. Oh, chat. Now we're getting crazy. Okay. Fortunately, Steph and Edwards' contract may be a little bit more dramatic. I guess the Mavs were able to throw in Kleba as well too, so it was a little bit more workable. But that does feel like maybe the best comparison, honestly, for what could happen. I guess, because Tatum is hurt at this point. Edwards for Tatum wouldn't even be, obviously both fan bases would be like, huh? Yeah, okay. Well, interesting. Both obviously great players, but, just would be, neither team would feel the need to make that move. I guess there is no one-off trade for the Cavs, chat. Because if you can't aggregate, it's not like you can't do Jared Allen and Max Strus for Randall or something like that. You know, that'd be interesting. Bringing Randall into the mix. A more playmaking 4 next to Mobley. Let Mobley, you know, fully unlock at the 5. Edward or Hunter being a wing. Could be fun. You know, Allen as well, too, as a different center option next to Gobert would be interesting. Strus as a, you know, if he's actually making his 3.3s, chat. You know, you just think, okay, Edwards can challenge Strus in the locker room instead of Strus challenge, you know, and then Strus challenge Edwards like the way we wanted the other star players to as well. I guess, OKC, chat, are they going to bail out Minnesota after taking them down to the Western Conference Finals? Here's a pick. You get a pick. You get a first-round pick. Everybody gets a first-round pick. You get a wing. You get a wing. Isaiah Joe. Can Isaiah, after not making a 3 against the Timberwolves in a series, do the Timberwolves want to trade for Isaiah Joe? I guess that becomes the question. But yeah, chat, shout out to OKC for making the finals. Only the second time in, I guess, their OKC run for the franchise history. Clay Bennett, chat, the man with the vision, according to Mark Dagnall. The OKC fans cheered, so they're into it. I don't know if the Seattle fans did, but hey, he's not there to please the Seattle fans, is he? Mark Dagnall, in the expansion draft, do they get I guess they have to hire a coach. They can't draft an expansion coach. You have to protect the coach in the expansion draft? Maybe you should, chat. Maybe you should. That'd be interesting. It's like, which team didn't protect their coach? Ooh, the controversy. But then they get to draft a coach from one of the teams. So it'd be like, you know, would Jason Kidd be protected on the Mavs? I'm like, oh, Jason Kidd is the expansion coach? That's kind of fun. JJ Redick? You know, Udoka? It'd be a stacked team. Like the Rockets and Dagnall would be a really interesting. I think you would kind of have to protect Dagnall in that situation. And then, you know, you start getting into some of those 7th, 8th. Like, do we protect Ousmane Dieng or Mark Dagnall? Like, yeah, because, you know, this is an easier conversation than maybe some of the player battles. But, yeah, Charles Lee's probably pretty safe, chat. The Raptors head coach? Maybe get the Raptors head coach. Start talking about Anthony Edwards as the face of the league. Then maybe he really locks in at that conversation. You know, Chris Finch? Does he get protected in the... Hey, whoa, what are we talking about? In the expansion draft? Hey, yo, chat. Whoa. Is that the note we have to end on? Does Chris Finch get protected? What are we talking about, chat? What are we talking about? Who knows? Western Conference Finals. What a run, chat. The Western Conference Finals. The Thunder with a historic run. I know the playoffs are not over yet for them. They still have a chance to potentially continue their, you know, high winning percentage through the playoffs. But they only lost twice, I think, in the playoffs so far. Double checking real quick. We're idiots, chat. They went 7 against Denver. But I guess outside of that, they probably only lost once then. So I guess that 7-game series is gonna, I'm not gonna mess up them historically because again they are a younger team. Like they may not necessarily get a better win-loss record than this, but there is definitely a version where, of course, you know, Shea and Jalen and Chet, there's a better version of the star players, anyways. And then is that team more dangerous from an all-time standpoint? You know, we'd have to see visually, I guess, what that looks like. But yeah, I guess, you know, 4-0 versus Grizzlies, 3-1 versus Minnesota. I would assume that Indiana gives them a good finals as well too. I mean, Indiana might even be an upset potential as well too. I guess we'll just have to see how the rest of that series plays out tomorrow. Chat, stay tuned in. We'll be here live for it. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals is tomorrow, back in New York. So Indiana with a chance to close out on the road there, chance to meet the Thunder in the finals, of course, and set the league officially in a new direction, chat. Small markets, big performers, new stars. It's going to be fun stuff. But, yeah, Shea is first up for next up, chat. And, of course, Halliburton is there for next up. And you forget about Topic, chat. Topic in the wings next up. Is Topic a trade asset? What can you get for Topic? Is Topic a guy that is protected? Hey, yo, in the expansion draft. All questions that can be answered, I guess, in the offseason chat. But, yeah, of course, you can follow the podcast feeds. The live streams go up on the podcast feeds, chat. We're still old school. We, REMINGTOM Pod. We got to stay true to the name. So they are up there. The YouTube live streams keep a cooking over here, chat. So you can follow along here to catch us live. And the DMs are open over on Instagram at ReminTonm on on Instagram chat if you want to DM us and send us a message. So, yeah, I mean Minnesota, of course, as long as you have Edwards as a star player, like that'll be okay. Then, like, I feel sort of the same mental, not, again, San Antonio has a lot of work to do to become a team that's going to win the finals or even compete for a finals or even like, oh, are we going to challenge OKC at any point in a playoff series? But just having a superstar like Wembanyama, it's like, okay, it's such a mental relief, chat, from a fan's perspective, just to go at least the main piece, the building block, the foundational whatever for assembling that title team is in place. We have the star, and we have, again, for a team like San Antonio, the infrastructure and the ability to actually put that team together. It's like, okay, as long as we have Anthony Edwards, we're good to go. We're good to go. How many situations we trade for? Like, at the end of the day, we're giving up those situations to give up Anthony Edwards? Probably not. And McDaniels is fun. Like, Nasri, like, there's still high level versions of this team. The Gobert contract is tough, chat. It is what it is. But maybe they just need Luka Garza unlocked. Honestly, just Luka Garza more minutes. Luka Garza in the Julius Randle spot? I don't know. Luka Garza maybe defensively is still catching up to some of these guys, chat. And, DiVincenzo might actually have a little more trade. I guess, like you're saying, he does have trade value. Just maybe he's a little bit too valuable to Minnesota for this run. So I guess Anthony Edwards here, we'll check his stats once again for the season just to say goodbye. Or here, I guess, Minnesota in general. We can just go through and say goodbye to the individual. Sign off, chat, for Minnesota. Sign off, Anthony Edwards. Sign off, Naz Reid. Sign off, Gobert. But just to check up where they're at. So Edwards this season finished with a 27.5, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 44% from the field, 39% from 3. Randle, 18, 7, and 4. So, yeah, let me see that rebounding thing over the last couple of years. In New York, 10 rebounds, 9, 9, 10, 9. So, yeah, basically double-digit rebounds the last 4 seasons and most of his career. But 7's a little bit of a downturn. The offensive rebounds, I guess, were the same as they were last year and up near where they've been for most of the career. His career average is 2. They were 2.1 for this year. But the defensive rebounds, and maybe, again, that's just a function of the way the team played. But, I don't know if Randall was being a little more finesse this year as well, too. So, yeah, Shannon, chat, 32 game appearances. Did play 10 minutes a game. So, the weird sort of in a flash in the pan, if that's not necessarily the proper way to phrase it, but just the limited minute production that you got from him sort of managed to stay efficient. Like, there's a way where it's like, okay, he's putting up shots, he's like 30% from the field and all the stats. It's like, well, okay, he's just putting up all the looks and young player and still adjusting all that stuff. But it's like, okay, he's out there, and when he is out there, he still is getting the looks that he needs at 48% from the field, 35% from 3. I still have stock, chat. That's going to be a guy. Him and Dillingham is not a bad. That's another reason, like, those 3 guys, and, the ability for Dillingham, Edwards, and Shannon, you start galaxy branding this. Can they all play together? I think so. 2025. I think you can have spacing and 3 wings. 3 guys that can create a shot for themselves. Chat, they probably play together. And there's some defensive toughness with all those guys as well, too. But I think those are pieces that can, again, are they going to be all-star pieces for him? But can Terrence Shannon be Neesmith level scoring and 3-point shooting, all that stuff? It's on the table, chat. I guess maybe Jalen Clark's more of the immediate Neesmith comp. But again, just the level. Can he be a 7th man for the team, I guess, is what we're saying. Can Terrence Shannon and Dillingham be their 6th and 7th mans next year? Mans, chat? Hey, yo. But with this team, who knows? We'll have to see if they end up being their 3rd and 4th mans, chat, in general. Because I guess locks to return. We know it's going to be Edwards. Clark. We don't even know if it's Clark. Shannon, Dillingham. Oh, wait a second. Long term. I guess because Minnesota is still with, as long as, like we're saying, Edwards is the feared guys that we're looking at for Wembanyama competition in the playoffs and just all the league standing, all the stuff. So, all the stuff, chat. But, so, we definitely keep an eye on them. Everybody knows what's up with Oklahoma City at this point. So, I guess we got to throw Gobert into the locks to return category. And I guess DiVincenzo as well, too, because like we're saying, pretty favorable value still. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was a free agent, so you just don't know. So was Naz Reid, maybe opts out. I guess McDaniels, I feel like McDaniels, though, I'm not saying that just because we're having fun on the trade machine means he's on the market. Obviously, we're not cooking up the trade machine because we have sources. Just fun, and it's a contract that's got a lot of matches, I guess, in the league. But it does feel like there is a 15% chance that if they want to get frisky, maybe they do something there as well too. But he has had some good percentage numbers in the regular season over the last couple of years. So obviously, with his age, like we're saying, you may want to see what he has. But those are I guess, with Gobert, the 5 guys that we would say are locks to return next year. Anthony Edwards, Gobert, DiVincenzo, Terrence Shannon, and Dillingham. So like I said, that lineup, I don't know if that lineup is better, and if it's a title team, Edwards starts requesting trades. But that is at least the outline of the team. If it stays that if they're able to, of course, build out the rest of the roster, and Shannon and Dillingham are off the bench, or a little bit more, if it does become more of a reset year, I don't know if it's a bad thing as well too. But yeah, chat. Like we said, we'll be back tomorrow, following along with the Eastern Conference Finals, of course. Knicks Pacers. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully the Knicks show up to play, chat, tomorrow, and the Pacers don't just run off the court because the Timberwolves, chat, they let us down. It is what it is. But yeah,